Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with River Brown, Andrew Velez, and this is now episode 128. In this episode, we will recap the Titans versus Rams game, talk about the ManningCast curse, the Raiders dysfunction, predict our division winner for the two toughest AFC divisions, talk about Jordan Love's first start, and more. A quick Patreon shout out to PJs, Mario, Langston, Jazzy Juice, Johannes, Ruben, Brian, Ricky, E, Enzo, Sean Solis, Sean, Muffins, John, Sean Triplet, Burner Hoops, Court Cousins, Ben Mack, P. George, Hikari, Mateen, Dave Two Freedom, and Jay Aqua.
Good old Jay Aqua, man.
Had to make him last this time.
We needed him.
So Riv is back, and he appreciates those well wishes you gave him. I'm guessing he does. I haven't asked you personally if you appreciate them or not. I'm guessing he does.
Bro, that was awesome. You got at least 15 comments saying
they showed you love.
For real, bro.
I appreciate it.
They showed you love.
Yeah, I'm back though.
We were talking about this a little bit before the show because recently, I had this Clay take on last episode that, I think I had this thought, maybe he should come off the bench, even when he comes back, because Jordan Poole's been playing great. And Clutch Points posted that, and Draymond commented or whatever. It is what it is.
Draymond Green. So people know.
Draymond Green commented on it, and he
man.
was like, I'm assuming he means for a couple of games to get his feet wet. And he was like, man, shut up. Who gives these dudes a platform? He was like, I think he said clowns, whatever. And after that, because on TikTok, I posted it on TikTok and stuff, and it got a lot of views and stuff. And on the comments, it's just the assumptions that are made about us is ridiculous.
That's every single post we have.
This is why I appreciate everybody that actually listens to the full podcast, because in that segment, it was a crazy take, and I know if Riv was here, it would have been the energy would have definitely been different. But even towards the end of the segment, I was like, "Yeah, you're right. Clay should probably start." It wasn't like that was like my fixed opinion, and that's what we have here. Here it's just an open conversation.
Definitely.
We just have conversations. We just think out loud. And on TikTok, when you're seeing a 30-second clip of somebody saying something, you only get to know them for that 30 seconds. You don't know what was said in the entire segment. Maybe they check it out after. It's unlikely, though. And people that actually watch the show are growing with us, are growing with our personality. They know how we are, so they understand it. Where people that just see us for the first time are like, oh, man, what are these guys talking about? I see some topic. I saw this comment that was like, I would love to be a fly in the wall during their production meetings. And I thought about the comment. I'm like, we don't even have production meetings. We literally come here. We talk for maybe 15 minutes, not even about the show at all. And we just hit record and we just go. Yeah. It's funny to me how people really think we come in here and are like, oh man, on this segment, we're going to give the hottest and craziest take. Because there's this dude, right? There's this dude on TikTok that his name is Poppy Solo. Okay. And he follows a TikTok account on Pick a Side, and he added the Pick a Side TikTok, and I watched the video. It was about them reacting to the Klay Thompson take, and this guy was like, "Oh, these guys have to say controversial and hot takes because they weren't getting traction before this," and I'm like, "Bro, the first time we posted on TikTok was in July." We already had 5,000 YouTube subscribers. Oh yeah. And I'm like, bro, we just started using TikTok. The clips just go viral. Don't be a hater, bro. Don't be a hater, but whatever. That's the internet for you. I'm excited about this show because I'm finally going into a football episode having watched a lot of All 22. I finally have All 22. I have the access to it. I feel like such a knowledgeable beast right now. So I can't wait to get into this episode. We gave the Patreon shout out. We asked Riv. Well, Riv he appreciates the comments you guys gave. So give a little bit of an update on to the audience about how you're feeling.
Yeah, bro, we all care.
We all care. What's up?
No, I'm just I'm feeling better. I get headaches here and there. I still go to work, but they gave me a couple of days off. So I was just in bed, watching sports for the most part. But I couldn't miss today, so I had to bump it to Wednesday because we usually do it on Tuesdays.
Bro's flu game.
Yeah, I couldn't miss it. So I'm back though. I'm feeling better though. I'm feeling a lot better, and I feel good now. I just got to be more drinking water and stuff and eating and stuff. So, but I'll be all right.
What you eating?
I've actually
Meat?
No, I actually haven't been eating meat. I've actually been eating like salad and stuff and like a lot of rice. Like
Get those carbs.
yeah, my friend, I think I'm about to go vegan, honestly.
Really?
I think I'm about to make a life.
Your girl got you on that.
No.
Yep, she definitely
She
did.
don't. But I think I'm about to make a life-changing decision. I'm going to go vegan.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
You know what
so.
that means, bro? No animal products.
Seafood, though, I can still eat that, right?
I don't think so, man.
Vegan is cutting off meat.
That's heavy.
Anything of an animal, like eggs, done. Cheese, done.
Ooh.
Yeah, man, it's a commitment. You should, if you're thinking of vegetarian, that's firm. Vegan is extreme.
I might actually go vegetarian. Yeah, I think that's the word I was really looking for.
Pescatarian.
Pescatarian?
Yes, because then you can eat fish.
Nah, I'm going to just go straight vegan.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to try it out.
Vegetarian.
No, vegan.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
No, nothing.
No, nothing.
All right.
You know, there aren't any real long-term studies that suggest going vegan or even any of those diets are beneficial to your health. Like long-term studies.
Yeah, but you just do you, man.
Yeah, it's just
I feel like I got to cleanse myself, though. I eat too wild.
Yeah,
so
but
I feel like I got to...
when I did keto, I mean, the results were there, but you feel completely different.
Really?
Yeah, just so you, like, your mind, your clarity, you feel more centered. So maybe it'll be
Yeah,
good
no,
for
I
you.
feel like my mind's been dead for like a week.
Yeah, man. That brain fog is crazy.
Yeah. I'm gonna try it. I'll see how it goes.
Diet, you don't realize how much of an impact it has on your thought process.
That's true.
Yeah, that's why I had a vitamin C smoothie before the show. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, no, I had goldfish before the show.
And
so.
it's not a vitamin C as in the letter C. It's SEA. So like a sea of vitamins, and it's a vitamin C.
So that's the name
smoothie.
of the drink.
Yeah.
Really? Where'd you get it from?
Interesting.
I got it from this place called Raw Squeeze. Yeah, in Jersey.
Okay.
I just hate in Jersey.
Because people don't know where we're from. I don't know if people
Really? They still don't know where we're
I
from?
don't know.
H-Town.
Maybe they're new
The
listeners.
real H-Town.
Yeah, we're from Hackensack. Hackensack is on the map now. You got people that probably heard of Coyle Ray. Coyle Ray is popping in the rap game. Javon is playing
They
ball
have
at Alabama.
They have this meme of Coyle Ray that makes her look really, really funny. I don't know if you guys saw it.
The one of her looking like Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
So you got Coyle Ray. She's doing
Even
her
though
thing
she
in the music industry.
disrespected Hackensack.
Nah, she did.
She did.
Yeah.
JQ's playing ball. We got the
That's
best
a legend.
podcast in
That's a hood
Jersey
fave.
for sure. I
World.
think.
By far.
World.
Yeah, we got the best podcast in Jersey for sure.
World.
Statistically, maybe not. We'll get there though.
Yo, 31. We're on the rise.
Yeah, we were the 31st ranked basketball podcast.
That's crazy.
This month.
We're the best in the world.
We're coming soon.
CM Punk.
Yeah.
So let's start this episode. Somebody who didn't play their best Sunday night was Matthew Stafford. I like Stafford. You know, I've said it before. He's an elite quarterback. He just needed to get out that situation. And regular season wise, he's been that. But Drew and I have went back and forth, and I have my reservations about Stafford in big time games. And this game did not help my cause for concern. So Matthew Stafford in big time games didn't play so well against Tennessee. I want to start with you, Drew, because I know you're very high on Stafford.
Okay.
Can we trust Matthew Stafford in big time games?
Well, if history tells us anything, the answer is yes. He's among active quarterbacks right now. He ranks third in fourth quarter comebacks. I believe he has 31. Let me make sure I'm not spewing false information. Yes, 31 on the dot. Only ones that have more than him are Tom Brady, which I will give him his flowers. That's very impressive because obviously his teams are winning more situations than they're losing, and which basically means he maximizes the opportunity that he has. So that's amazing on his part. Big Ben, who also in pretty similar situations, teams probably winning most often than not. Of recent memory, his teams have been rather shaky, and Ben has the abilities to pull a fourth quarter comeback, so that's credit to him. And he's also a lot older than Stafford is. Then you have Stafford at 3, and he's playing on the Detroit Lions, or was playing on the Detroit Lions when a good portion of these fourth quarter comebacks came, and you and I differ where, you know, I give him credit for that, and you give him a little bit of or you don't hold that stat to as high of a value because they're Detroit. They're always losing, and he has so many opportunities to have these fourth quarter comebacks. But in my opinion, you're playing on Detroit, a sorry franchise, a team that has no wins up until this point in the season. And you should now even look at that and just think, wow, this guy was able to at least make them somewhat of a relevant team bring them to the playoffs. This squad, obviously, the team was a lot better back in the day when they had Calvin. That defense was very, very good, one of the better defenses in the league. But he still had a season where he threw for over 5,000 yards. Matthew Stafford has been that dude, and now we're seeing him in the Rams produce around basically what Matthew Stafford has been accustomed to doing his entire NFL career. He had a slip-up. This game against Tennessee, they had great pressure on him on the interior side of things, and it forced him to make some errant throws, not throws that we've seen from Stafford throughout this season. He looked a little bit panicked at times, but second half, they made some good adjustments. Instead of staying in the pocket, they rolled out, and that seemed to be more effective for them. Started opening up the field. They had a touchdown that was reversed on them that could have changed the entire swing of how the game was going to end up. But ultimately, they settled for a field goal, kind of stalled out after that. Tennessee is just one of the best clock killers there are in the NFL. And so you give a team like Tennessee a double-digit point lead going into halftime, it's going to be hard for them to lose that game. But I thought that the Rams had a chance to come back. Who knows how the game turns after that touchdown. But ultimately, I do trust Stafford. I think Stafford has been superb up until this point in the season. He had a rough first half for sure. And I just think that against Tennessee, a team that I need to stop being so critical of, a team that has proven to be one of the better teams in the AFC. I don't know how the AFC is going to turn out, truthfully. It's just such a wild card right now. But Tennessee is a solid team, and defensively, their interior presence has been very good up until this point, and they made it tough on Matthew Stafford. I'm not looking too into this game. I understand that it's a primetime game, and he did not play the best. But ultimately, I'm not concerned. It's a game in the regular season. We've seen teams look shady against, teams that shouldn't even have a chance of beating them, and they come back the very next week and are their regular selves. So I'm not looking too deep into this. I think Stafford will be okay.
So this game was closer than what the score indicated.
No doubt.
It was 28-14 or 26-14, I believe. It was 28-16, actually. The Rams had 12 penalties for 115 yards. They had 200 more total offensive yards than the Titans. The Titans didn't play a great offensive game, and we'll talk about the Titans after this segment because this is about Stafford. There were two big-time plays missed by the Rams, both by Van Jefferson. He dropped a touchdown pass, and then Matthew Stafford threw an accurate deep ball to him, and Amani Hooker broke it up. But I thought a great receiver is making that catch. Van Jefferson has been very up and down for the Rams.
For sure.
But the two mistakes that sting, the Kevin Byard interception, and the Rams couldn't get anything going down the field. The running game wasn't going either. And in the beginning of the game, they were completing a lot of quick outs. And Kevin Byard read it. The Titans are playing cover 3 and man-to-man the entire game. Kevin Byard was the buzz in the cover 3, which means that he's basically roaming around. Matthew Stafford tried to throw it out. Kevin Byard read it. Pick 6. That's just on Stafford predetermining where he's going to go before the ball is even snapped. Then the second interception. Jeffrey Simmons is about to sack him, and instead of taking that sack, which I'm sure Stafford thought it was going to be a safety, but the referees and I think the broadcast booth mentioned after the fact that he would have been down at the 1-yard line. But, I know Stafford thought it was going to be a safety, so he just tried to throw the ball away. He threw it right into David Long Jr.'s hands. David Long Jr. didn't score the touchdown, even though he was near the goal line. He didn't score a touchdown, but it put Tennessee in a perfect position to score the ball. And 14 of Tennessee's points basically came by way of their defense. So Stafford made 2 crucial mistakes, and that's what I've been telling you, that in big-time games, at least when I've seen Stafford, I know he has those fourth-quarter comebacks. But the funny thing about that stat, that fourth-quarter comeback stat with Stafford, he's 4th amongst active quarterbacks in fourth-quarter comebacks. The 3 quarterbacks among him are Big Ben, Matt Ryan, and Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the only one I trust amongst those players to really come back and to lead a game-winning drive. Big Ben, at one point, I trusted him. Right now, at this point, I don't have much faith. Matt Ryan, I don't have much faith. We know he throws a lot of late-game interceptions, and he's a bit trigger-happy himself. Matthew Stafford, I don't trust him in those situations.
Come on.
And I think a lot of those fourth-quarter comebacks are by way of him playing in Detroit and always having to come back. because Stafford has had 20 primetime games in his career, at least in Detroit, before he was with the Rams. He was 6-14 in those games. In those games, he threw 24 touchdowns to 18 picks, completed 65% of his passes, and had an 88.6 passer rating.
It's not bad.
Which is very similar to what the stat line he put up against Tennessee in the playoffs. 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 88 passer rating. And he is 8-67. 8-67 against teams that finished the season with a winning record. Now, there are very few quarterbacks that have a winning record against teams that finished the season with a winning record. Those players are Jimmy G, Big Ben, Lamar, Mahomes, Brady, and Russell Wilson. So it's very hard to have a winning record against teams that have finished with that winning record. But 8-67.
Dude, the lines stink. Give him a break.
8-67 in 11 seasons. You won 8 games against a team that, and it's not like every year Detroit was bad. So against teams that are actually good, Stafford doesn't play that great. So if you look at Stafford's primetime numbers and his numbers so far in the playoffs, it spells a quarterback that is good but not great, but not elite. And I don't trust Stafford in big-time games. The Rams, like I said, I feel like their roster has the making to be a Super Bowl favorite, and I pick them to win the Super Bowl. But the only reason why I'm really not as bought in on them as I was on Tampa last year, because I picked Tampa last year in like June, was because I can't fully trust Stafford. I just can't. And we all have a gut feeling about a quarterback. Regardless of how Mahomes is playing this year, when it's the fourth quarter and he's on he's leading a final drive, I trust Mahomes. Tom Brady, I trust Tom Brady. Russell Wilson, I trust Russell Wilson.
Lamar right now.
Aaron Rodgers, I trust Rodgers. Lamar as well. With Stafford, I just can't trust him. Lamar Jackson has like 4 comebacks this year.
Okay, but come on. What Matty Stafford's shown us throughout history, you're telling
and
me
even Lamar,
I
have my reservations about him, but there are very few quarterbacks that I trust with the game on the line. Deshaun Watson is another one.
Yes.
Stafford is not one of them. That my gut feeling, the game on the line, I don't fully trust he's going to lead the way and lead my team to victory. That's just me, though. And that's why I think last week I prematurely picked the Rams.
That's you, bro.
Oh, it is. Whoops. I don't know why. Yo, so that's funny. I had an alarm set this morning because I needed to wake up for class. And I'm like, all right, 7:22. I wake up. It's like 8 o'clock. I'm like, what happened?
You put the PM?
PM.
Oh, okay.
So stupid. My bad, y'all.
So Matthew Stafford, I just can't fully trust him. And last week, I think I prematurely picked the Rams as my Super Bowl pick. And and even now with the Bills, I'm not confident in them because this is one of those years that I really don't even want to make a pick because everything is so wide open. The Bills right now, their offense looks sloppy. Tennessee, do I really trust them? Yeah. I like them a lot, but I can't really buy into them. There's no team in the AFC that I'm bought into. In the NFC, the Cardinals, because of their youth, I'm kind of weary of them. I'm not sure if I want to buy into them. The Packers, if they get Odell, it makes the decision much easier for me. But I can't fully buy into them. The Rams, Stafford is holding me back. And the Buccaneers are the only team that I'm like, maybe it's going to happen again. But I don't know.
Let me just get this thought in real quick. They got to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff.
Oh, with Todd Gurley too, though.
It's a different team.
But Todd Gurley wasn't that great in the playoffs.
But he led them to that.
He was there
in the regular season. But Staffy is basically going to get that record that they had. You're telling me that they can't get to the Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford and get there with Jared Goff?
Who are they playing?
Well, I'm glad you said that because that goes into what I was going to say. You know, I feel like you two kind of are on 2 different spectrums. You're being a little too Stafford fanboyish. You're being a little too harsh on Stafford. At the same time, we all can admit Detroit was a very dysfunctional organization. You know,
it's the worst organization in football.
It is, but at the same time, like he said, those comebacks look a little iffy because he was always having to come back, you know. But I think new situation, new environment, Los Angeles Rams. You know, I can't fully say I trust Stafford, but I can say I trust the Rams. And the reason why I can trust the Rams is because they have the best corner in the league. They have the best defensive lineman in the league. They have one of the best coaches in the NFL. They're bringing in Von Miller. The defense is going to be there. Not to mention Cooper Kupp is having one of his best seasons he's ever had. He looks like one of the best receivers in the league. Robert Woods looks like a solid number 2. So I think trusting Stafford looks a lot easier because of his team. You know, I think when you have a team out there like the Rams who are elite at almost everything of the game, and then you put a quarterback like that at that ability who's a much better quarterback than Jared Goff, who has the arm talent, I think it makes it much better to say I can trust Stafford. At the same time, though, we've seen him this year. You know, he had a great game against the Bucs. He didn't look too good against Tennessee. He didn't look great against the Cardinals. So it's like we've seen him in primetime situations, and in the NFL, it's a little different than the NBA. Every game matters. You know, you can't really say it's a regular season game. I'm not going to look to it. Only on certain teams, certain guys, like you could say that for Tom Brady, it's a regular season game. It's not going to matter because he's proven that it doesn't matter. But in a guy like this who hasn't proven it that it doesn't matter, you kind of got to look at these games with a little bit of a lens like, all right, this is a primetime game. How is Stafford going to look? And he hasn't looked the greatest in primetime games this year alone.
Yeah.
So, but I can definitely say I trust Stafford to an extent because of the fact that he's playing for the Rams, who are Super Bowl favorites, and they are one of the best teams in the league from top to bottom. At the same time, he didn't look good against Tennessee. And like Joel said, it's a wide-open NFC. You know, you got the Cardinals. You got Dallas. You got Tampa Bay. You know, there's a lot of teams in the NFC who can beat the Rams, you know, but at the same time, Stafford has the ability. I'm going to say I trust the Rams more than I trust Stafford. I trust the team as a whole, and I trust the coach to get it done. But at the same time, you know, you have to look at his situation and be like, can Stafford get it done? Because he's, like Joel said, he hasn't really shown the ability to get it done, you know?
He just hasn't been in a position to really show that. I mean, outside of the 2011 season and the season that they lost to, I believe it was 2013, where they lost to Dallas in the first round, what position had the Lions put him in to really be successful? I mean, it all depended on whether Stafford was going to be capable to backpack them to victory, or it wasn't enough because obviously his body was either failing him, the defense was terrible, the offensive line was terrible. They put him in a bunch of tough situations and basically said, Matthew, please help us. What more could he really have done for Detroit?
I think what you just said kind of backs up my argument.
In what sense?
Because the only reason you trust Stafford in big-time moments is because you have faith in him.
Because he did it for
not because
the
of
worst
what he's
team
done.
ever.
Because he, in those primetime games, he hasn't shown you that he can do that. So my point about not trusting Stafford is more geared in the fact that I haven't seen it. Where yours is
I believe
you just believe in Stafford.
From what I've seen, from what he's shown me on every Sunday, whenever he plays on Monday, Thursdays, Stafford has been superb.
So your belief has to be just geared towards this season.
From what I've seen already, I mean, he's been excellent.
And he's definitely been an MVP
And from
candidate.
what I have seen,
Tom Brady's winning it this year, though.
Probably, yeah.
He's my pick before the season.
I'll tell you what, he was for sure. He was one of mine as well, but not my main guy. He was yours. This week, I think he's done. I think after the week that he had against Tennessee, I think his MVP chances is shot just because Brady has been perfect. Kyler has missed some time, which is unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? Brady basically has been perfect. And he throwing no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And unless
he threw a touchdown later.
Oh, you're right. You're 100. Did he? Yes, he did in the late garbage time. You're 100% right. But unless Brady really has a terrible game, the race is just Brady's for the taking. I forgot what we were speaking about over. Oh, but back to what I was saying about Detroit. He was great with Detroit. From when he was healthy, anytime he was on the field, he was a warrior. He played through a egregious amount of injuries. Regardless of what it was, you could always count that he was going to at least try and get himself on the field.
Can I ask you a question? Actually, this is a question for both of you guys. Remember that year where you picked the Lions to be a sleeper? Were they a good team?
They were.
So that was a team.
They weren't a good. The record didn't show they were a good team.
You know what I'm saying? Like from walking into that season, you thought
that was last season.
Yeah,
the Lions blew the Lions blew multiple one-score games last season.
That was 2 seasons ago.
No,
that
last
defense
year
was poop.
Last year with Stafford.
Okay. So you thought that team was good enough to make the playoffs with Stafford?
It's just super young.
I thought
defense.
it was.
It's a super young defense.
But and the Lions going into the second half had leads in a lot of games versus the Packers last year had 2-score leads and they just lost. So we never talk about those games with Stafford. All that shows up is comebacks. But let me just ask you this question: what's the difference between Derek Carr and Matthew Stafford?
Matthew can throw the ball farther, I guess.
I think Matthew has a better arm.
Yeah.
But in terms of their production situations, Stafford in Detroit was in dysfunction. Derek Carr with the Raiders is in dysfunction. And he's still amongst one of the more accurate quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yep.
So if you're telling me you trust Stafford in big time situations, you have to tell me you trust Derek Carr in those situations as well.
I do.
I trust Carr more than Stafford.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be honest.
That's where I just.
But I'll be honest. That is off of my faith of Carr.
Okay, so we're in similar situations
because I think Carr is just a leader, man.
Okay, and I firmly believe the exact same thing about Matthew.
I think Stafford's a leader too. It's just
another thing that
it's
stuck
just
out
Carr's
to me.
moxie.
You said that he's not great
in primetime. No, he's not.
Okay. I just
Absolutely
need to
not.
clear that up just because it came across as if you were saying Staffy wasn't great.
No, he's a great quarterback. In primetime, though, he's not.
So is he in the form of Kirk Cousins?
I wouldn't say Kirk Cousins.
Now I have a question. In general, is he not elite?
It depends, really. Like, he's...
I have to go immediately, not even think twice. He's elite.
How many quarterbacks are truly elite in the NFL?
I would say there's like 7 or 8 elite quarterbacks.
Elite level quarterbacks.
Seven.
So Stafford's in your top 7?
As of right now?
Brady to me is elite.
Brady is elite.
Josh Allen, I think, is great. He's not elite yet.
Okay.
Because he has to sustain this.
Okay, I agree.
Like, I don't think one season just makes you elite.
All right, I'm fine with that.
Patrick Mahomes, he's shown me he's elite.
Of course.
Aaron Rodgers is elite.
Russell
He has to
100%
sustain that
elite.
play.
Russell?
Deshaun Watson is elite.
Yes.
Russell Wilson
Is
is elite.
Lamar elite? Is Lamar elite?
Lamar's elite.
Lamar is elite, but he's really elite because of that running ability. He has that
Correct.
added gear.
I
don't think Stafford
Kyler?
is Lamar.
Are you going to give me Kyler?
Kyler is in that area. He's
Then
pushing it.
give me Stafford.
Is Dak
And then
elite?
I'll give you Herbert and Dak.
I don't think Stafford is. I don't think Dak is elite.
All right,
I think
you've been
Dak
rude.
is a great
You've been
quarterback.
rude on Dak.
Dak is
You
great.
give him his credit.
Dak
Please.
is great. I've liked Dak since
Because if
he got drafted.
if not for this weekend, Dak's also an MVP candidate.
I'm not even thinking about this weekend. I don't even care about this weekend.
The Broncos are playing,
It's
immediately
just
didn't even watch.
I don't even care about this weekend. I'm not going to make my opinion on Dak based off this
But
weekend.
he's been excellent all season, man.
I've been saying, when it was a debate between Wentz and Dak was my guy all day.
Yeah, but you've been low on Dak.
Because people are trying to push him into an area that he's not in.
But
he's not an elite quarterback.
He's elite. He is.
He's a great quarterback. He's not an elite quarterback.
He's definitely knocking at the door.
He's knocking, and I think Stafford is knocking at that door,
Dude
and
is-
has been knocking at that door for a while in Detroit. But he's not elite. Like Matt Ryan, is he elite?
He was elite.
Was he elite, or did he just have an MVP season?
You can have. He was elite. He was elite.
I think Matt Ryan for a season or two was an upper echelon quarterback.
Like Matty Staffy had a 5,000-yard season. Obviously, like you really can't be anything
Drew
less than
Brees
great.
to me was elite.
Of course,
Those players were elite. I don't know if Stafford's in that category. He has to prove himself more. I just think he has to prove himself more.
It's so hard to prove yourself in Detroit, man. You can only do so much.
So what about Tannehill?
No, not yet.
Tannehill in Miami, quarterback rating wise,
he was
very
solid.
similar to Stafford.
But the
led
numbers
the
weren't
Dolphins
there.
to the
numbers
playoffs.
weren't there.
He never had a 5,000-yard season, but in terms of quarterback rating, he was always an efficient quarterback.
No, he was.
He goes to Tennessee.
Hey, I'm not taking anything
and they make the
away
AFC
from him.
Championship.
Yeah, he was
Granted,
great.
Derrick Henry was there, but they didn't start winning until Tannehill got there.
Tannehill is.
They didn't start winning at that level.
He's an amazing quarterback. He definitely is elite.
No, I don't think he's elite.
He's not elite.
But I think
Stafford's better than Tannehill.
Stafford's a tick better than him. It's not like crazy. He's a tick better than him.
Staffy's a top 10 quarterback.
He's a top 10 quarterback, but I don't think top 10 quarterbacks are elite.
Not necessarily. I agree.
I don't think all of them are elite.
But almost every single guy we named outside of, I feel like we got to give Josh Allen the elite step. Like if we're giving it to,
he had an elite season.
He had, and up until this point, what are they? They've lost 3 games.
They lost 3 games, but he hasn't looked that great. He hasn't looked as great as he did last year.
He's looked great. I feel like just the offense as a whole, we're going to get into it eventually. But
I mean, on Sunday.
That's true. I mean, the pressure was in his face the whole game.
I'm just saying that these quarterbacks have to prove a little bit more for me to just label them elite.
Yeah.
Like, for example,
what does Deshaun really prove to you?
Ooh.
I mean, Deshaun won a playoff game.
I'm with you. I think
backpacked.
And listen, you know my opinion on Deshaun.
But Josh Allen went to the AFC Championship.
Exactly.
The reason why I put Deshaun in that category is because he's been working with one of the worst supporting cast since coming into the league.
Agreed.
And last season had one of the most, he had actually the most efficient quarterback season of all time. Granted, when you take into account everything around him. Stafford in that situation in Houston that Deshaun was in last year is not having that type of season.
I mean, he had a few of these.
He never had that type of season, though.
This thing is, Deshaun is a different category, obviously.
He's elite.
Yeah,
he's elite.
He is. I'm not saying he's not, but I'm just saying if we're giving credit to Deshaun, because obviously he deserves it for what he does on the field, if we look at, now I'm blanking on who we were just talking, Josh Allen, who basically, talent-wise, from what he's shown last season, I mean, he had a statistically better season than Deshaun's ever had. But that being said, still won or brought his team to the AFC Championship. I understand that this season he's been really, really good, but it's not like he's been like a Baker Mayfield step back.
But Allen is better than Stafford.
At this point in time?
It's not close. I don't think it's close between Allen and Stafford. I don't. I really don't. I really don't. When you talk about Josh Allen's mobility, I don't think it's close between Allen and Stafford.
To say it's not close is mean. Like it's
they're separated. There's a tier that separates them.
There's a distance, but it's not egregious.
Yeah, because Stafford is a great quarterback. Allen is an elite one. That's the distance.
But I do believe that Stafford is like that. So
you put Josh Allen on the Rams, what's happening? Like, what's happening?
You put Matty on the Bills, bro. Like
not as great as Josh Allen's been. Though.
I don't know. It took Josh Allen up until his third year to be Josh Allen.
Why though?
You tell me.
Well, his first year, he
had no receiver.
He was 50%, basically around that.
Did he get Stephon Diggs and he becomes that guy?
His first season there, his best receivers were
John Brown. Yes,
not John Brown was there. His rookie season, Isaiah McKenzie and Zay Jones were his best receivers. His second season, they signed John Brown and Cole Beasley. John Brown has an 1,000-yard season. Cole Beasley is great for them. They make the playoffs in his second season.
He loses in the first round.
The offensive line in his rookie season and his second weren't the best. Then that third year when he gets Stephon Diggs,
he was
MVP type season.
Fantastic.
So let's not act like Josh Allen has been playing with house money.
I'm not saying that, but let's not pretend like Matthew Stafford didn't change the Lions franchise.
What did he change?
I mean, he brought them to the playoffs, and they're the Lions. That's something you gotta not overlook.
He didn't change anything.
They at least became a winning team.
They were a winning team with Barry Sanders. But he didn't change
Barry
them.
Sanders is also generational.
No, yeah, but he didn't change them. He was a great player for the Lions.
He didn't change them. He did.
They're still dysfunctional, so he didn't change them.
I mean, he's gone, and they have 0 wins.
What he had like he had like 2 winning seasons there. It's not really.
He had a few. I have it right here, actually.
I think Stafford was great for the Lions. To say that he changed something there is just completely wrong. Tom Brady changed the Bucs. He changed the Bucs. They won the Super Bowl in his first season.
So if it's not a Super Bowl, you didn't change anything?
If it's not consistent success, like Mike Vrabel with Tennessee, Ryan Tannehill with Tennessee, they changed Tennessee. Derrick Henry, they changed Tennessee. Tennessee was a team that, okay, they would teeter around 9 wins, but we knew what they were. Mike Vrabel has changed Tennessee.
For sure.
Like, Doug Peterson changed the Eagles, bro.
At least for a short amount of time. Yeah. Like, Stafford was a great player.
So he didn't change the Lions for a short amount of time?
I don't think he changed the Lions.
That's such cap.
Because nobody ever looked at the Lions and thought they were anything.
That's cap. 2011, 2013, both those teams were respected.
I think you're being too nice.
I'm not. I'm being honest.
I don't think he changed anything.
I can't agree with that. They won 0 games. They had a season with 0 wins. No, he was not.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Come on, they had 0 wins. You didn't change anything?
You want to
be a playoff team after you had 0 wins? You didn't change anything?
I want to ask you this question. I want to ask you this question.
All right, let's hear it.
Because this is where your mind is at. So I know your answer to it if you're thinking like this. Baker changed the Browns.
For sure.
That's my statement.
For sure.
Okay. You want to know why he changed the Browns? When he gets drafted, they won 0 games. The very next year, Baker's rookie season, he breaks the rookie record for touchdowns thrown in the season by a rookie. They go 7-8-1. They were Matthew's rookie season wasn't near as good as that. Second year, Baker stumbles. Third year, goes to Cleveland and wins a playoff game for the first time in 20 years.
And loses to
Stafford didn't win a playoff game.
True.
What did he change? Baker changed.
Stop it. Stop.
Realistically, Baker Mayfield changed the Browns more than Stafford ever changed the Lions. That's just a fact.
I got Stafford stuff right here. 0-16, then they get Stafford. He wins 2 games the next year.
He did.
Then the next year he wins 6. Then he makes the playoffs. He made the playoffs 3 times. So I was off by 1.
All right, but I'm not.
And he lost every game. What do you
In the playoffs, you're saying? He shouldn't have lost to Dallas. It's
Okay,
simple.
I get it, but what did you change? Like, at least
They became a respectable franchise.
they weren't respectable
They
with Stafford.
were. They definitely
Respectable
were.
is strong.
No, not you can't
What's
just look
You
at.
respected the Lions?
I mean, the fact that Matthew Stafford.
You respected the
you're playing
Lions or you
against him.
respected Stafford? It's
Exactly.
two different things.
That's
You
it.
respected Stafford.
Yes,
You didn't
that's-
respect the Lions.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. You had to.
No,
at least
you
look
said
at
he
them.
changed them. He didn't
did.
change
He de-
anything.
You
Bro,
said they became a
won
respectable franchise. That's what you said.
All right. I said franchise, but you look at that. You know what? Fair enough, because obviously they're not a respectable franchise.
we
You're
respect
100%
Stafford.
wrong
We
wording.
definitely
Yes,
respect Stafford.
You're 100% right. That's exactly what
It's
I
one of the
meant.
more, like, okay, for example, Derek Carr, has he changed the Raiders? He hasn't changed them.
What's interesting about that is that the season that he gets hurt, they
They
have
were 12 and
they have a
4.
strong chance at the Super Bowl that year. He was excellent.
They were great
I
that
mean,
year.
since he's been on the team, they have been a
But
respectable
kind
team.
of like Stafford, they had a great
agree-
season, but
I
nothing
agree.
changed, though.
They're not a joke.
Like, did the line...
Carr has made the playoffs 1 time, and that was that year, bro.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even play.
Exactly.
This
They're
is
not
the thing.
respectable.
This is why I feel like we differ.
Yeah.
Baker, if he doesn't win that playoff game for the Browns, at least in last
As
season,
an underdog.
I don't know if he really changed the Browns. Yeah, they finally found a quarterback that is reliable,
Can't agree with that.
but they won a playoff game for the first time in 20 years. They threw a goddamn parade for that win. The Bills, Josh Allen. Well, no, the Bills with Tyrod Taylor won a playoff game for the first time in like 16 years. The biggest slump at that time.
Yeah.
Didn't Jacksonville do that too? The Jaguars?
Jacksonville, like Blake Bortles, I think as well.
Yeah.
Like, we don't sit here and say Blake Bortles changed the Jags, or we don't say that. Like, Stafford
Well,
was
obviously, 'cause he's not good.
a great player for the Lions. Did he change anything? No, he didn't change the trajectory of that franchise.
I don't know. He had a few
He offered
breaks,
offered
man.
stability at the quarterback position. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's
but he
selling
didn't
it short,
change
too.
anything though.
I can't agree. I'm sorry. You just look at a team that won 0 games, and in 3 seasons later, they're in the playoffs. I'm sorry. I can't agree. I'm sorry.
I don't know what he's changed. Or you can't like, what accomplishment? What did he do?
You took a team that was historically bad,
And did what with them?
They didn't win a playoff game.
but it's
So they're
not
still
as
at the
if
same
it was-
spot.
They didn't win a playoff
Yes,
game.
but like again, not every team has won a Super Bowl.
But they didn't win a
multiple teams.
playoff game yet.
I understand, but he should have a win on his resume.
can't
But
give
you
me a
can't say
should.
should.
I understand. Listen, I agree with you. I agree
books-
with
the
you.
history books are
He
written.
should have a win. That's what I'm saying. He should have a win. He got robbed.
But he doesn't have
But
it.
he doesn't have
we're
it
gonna
because
play
the
the
team
rob
he
game.
didn't change
No, he
it.
got robbed.
But it doesn't
It's
matter.
simple as that. He did. We've never seen a defensive pass interference flag. picked
I'll
up.
be honest. Mark Sanchez for the Jets changed my Jets in those 2 seasons more
Bro,
than
your
Stafford did in the
defense-
entire
stop it,
season.
because you know that team was built on defense.
Look at Mark Sanchez's playoff numbers. They're
They
way
were
better
solid.
than Stafford's.
They were solid.
They're way better
yeah,
than Stafford's.
because he has how many appearances?
He has only 2.
Matthew Stafford.
No,
Excuse me, Mark
Sanchez,
Sanchez.
yes.
No, he has 2 playoffs seasons. He made it to the AFC Championship.
No,
two
no,
means he
years
has
in a
more
row.
that's what it is.
games.
Playoff appearances is how many
I
times
think
he's
he
been to
meant he
playoffs.
has more
Yeah, yeah.
games.
That's exactly
you didn't say
what I'm
games,
saying.
though.
No, but that's what I meant.
But why
Come
does he
on.
have more games? Because he won.
Because his defense was all
Oh,
world.
really? Look
Oh,
at
come on. You had one of the best defensive coaches at the time.
no.
You had Darrell
The Jets
Revis. You had
defense. The
Cromartie.
Jets defense was elite. There's no
Yeah,
doubt
that's
about
it.
it.
Come on, bro.
But look at Sanchez in those games.
He was solid.
Look at those
He was
numbers.
solid.
No, he wasn't. He was great.
Let's see.
He was great.
All right, let's hear it.
He
Maybe.
was clutch.
All right, listen,
We
last
beat
thing-
the
all right, last
Bengals,
thing we'll say on
Chargers,
this.
Patriots.
He was great. He was
threw
great.
a
He was
touchdown
great.
against the Tom
it right
Brady and the
here.
Patriots.
All right, here we go.
In the fourth quarter.
Listen, he was
to Santonio
awesome.
Holmes.
He was awesome.
wait a minute.
No one's saying he wasn't.
Come on,
Hush.
man.
In 3 games in 2009, 60% completion rate, 539 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
That's in total?
In 3 games.
Okay.
And then 2010.
Hold on. Stafford in 3 games in the playoffs, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 88 quarter.
Oh, but wait, it gets better.
Okay.
In 2010, in 3 games
This was
again,
impressive.
60% completion rate, 616
He did
yards,
his thing.
5 touchdowns, and 1 interception.
He did his thing.
He has
That
a point.
2010
He
season
played
was
better.
nice.
He played better than Stafford.
We'll see this postseason.
With
Mark-
a 95
Mark
QBR.
Sanchez did more for my New York Jets than Matthew Stafford has ever done for Detroit.
Come on, bro. He never had
Yeah.
a defense like the Jets, but I'll give Stafford.
Mark Sanchez gave me 4 playoff wins, 2 AFC Championship appearances.
Come on. The defense did a lot of work for you
And
guys.
and you know what's the thing about that?
A lot.
Sanchez changed, and I get it. The defense was elite, but the quarterback position, Sanchez changed.
You're being very rude, bro.
This is
Being
the
rude.
fact. This is the fact.
Don't
this is the
look
fact
back
of it.
on this because I'm gonna bring up Sanchez as soon as he wins the Lombardi.
Look at this. Even though Sanchez won those playoff games, I don't go around saying Sanchez changed my franchise. I don't say that because Stafford
He only
didn't change
played
the
4
Lions
seasons.
franchise
How many
either.
seasons did Mark Sanchez play for you guys? Like 7?
But he still
max?
won me playoff games.
He did. Mostly because defenses. Like, do people look at that
But
Ravens team and
know,
think Trent Dilfer did this for us?
You want to know?
No.
Because Trent Dilfer literally did nothing in the playoffs.
My point,
He did nothing.
My
Sanchez didn't
All
do
right,
nothing in
fair
the
point,
playoffs.
Fair point. You're right. Fair point.
But I say that because Sanchez, it's not like we went from functional. It's not like we went from dysfunctional to functional with Sanchez. The same Detroit didn't go from dysfunctional to functional with Stafford. Sure, they had a couple good seasons, but for the most part, they were the same old Lions. Nothing ever changed. That's why
Nothing ever changed his cap.
what changed?
They went from 0 wins to a playoff team.
This dude not that good, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Who?
Stafford.
Oh my God!
I'm looking
bro.
at his playoff.
Three
Not just
games.
talking the
It's 3
playoffs.
games. I know they're not that great. You're right.
Yeah, they're
You're
really
right. Not that
garbage.
great.
You're the thing about you is that you're telling me about he went from 0 wins to
Making his team.
he went from 0 wins to a
2.
playoff appearance in 3 seasons.
Not.
We're just discounting the seasons in between of what they did to
He went
develop.
from 0 to 2 to 6 to 10.
That's it.
It's
So
disgusting.
that's a
only got
steady
better.
that's a steady improvement. But ultimately, I don't know if anybody's looking back at Stafford's tenure and saying he changed the Lions. Nobody's saying
The
that.
Lions are terrible. So I guess ultimately, given the fact that they never won a championship, never won a playoff game, I understand your logic of telling
If they
me
won a
it didn't
playoff
change
game, you'd
anything.
have a better argument.
I mean, they should have a playoff win.
But they don't.
But let's be look man
They
to
don't.
man, to
It is-
man on some real. Should they have won that game? Just be honest with me. The answer is yes.
The Jaguars. The Jaguars.
Just hold on before you just elude that question.
I haven't watched that game in a long time.
Off history, off memory alone.
I don't
that's all
even
you
remember that
need.
game, so I don't want to answer that question.
So
I
then,
don't have
come
any
on.
solid
All
answer
right.
to that question. I just want to ask you something.
Yeah.
So the Jaguars made the playoffs. We can all agree that it wasn't because of Blake Bortles. They didn't win because of
Defense
Blake
was
Bortles.
all
It was the
world.
defense.
Yes.
Did that defense change the Jaguars? Like, yeah, they had a great season. The very next season,
They were
that
trash.
same defense wasn't good. They didn't change, even though they went to the AFC Championship.
You can make the
and
argument,
almost
though,
beat Brady. They didn't
that
change
they changed
them.
it more than Stafford, though. That defense.
Oh, that 1 year.
Yeah, because
went to the
that's
AFC
one of their
Championship.
best years in, like, forever.
You guys
No, for real.
Don't regret it. Don't regret it.
I
I'm
ain't
telling you, don't regret it.
What are we gonna?
I didn't
Because
say
when he
anything.
starts turning up, it's gonna be.
He's been turning up.
Wait, even if he wins with the Rams, that has nothing to do with what he did with the Lions. He didn't
He's been
change
turning up.
them.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah,
I'm just saying you're talking ill on his name, and all he's going to do is prove you wrong.
I'm not talking ill on his
You
name.
are.
I'm
You
just,
are. You
it's
are.
a fact.
You are.
What did he
You're
change in
saying
Detroit?
you're saying that Sanchez meant more to the Jets than what he meant to the Lions.
No, I never said that. I never said
To a
meant.
degree.
I never said meant.
To a degree, this is what you're
said,
telling me.
I said he did more for the Jets.
There we go.
He did
Did
more
more.
for the Jets in those 2 seasons,
God,
in those 2 playoff appearances
I can't.
than Stafford did
Nope.
his entire tenure in
Nope.
Detroit.
Nope, because he never
He
had
gave
Darrelle
us
Revis,
2 AFC
Antonio
Championship
Cromartie.
appearances.
Bro, that whole defense of yours was ridiculous.
It was no
Come
no
on,
doubt
man.
about it. The defense
Like
was the
Rex
majority.
Grossman went to a Super Bowl
Bro, how
too.
did y'all even do that,
Wait,
bro?
no doubt about it. The majority of the reason was because of the defense. But you can't discount how great Sanchez played
was solid.
in those
He was
games.
solid.
Like, at all.
He was
so
solid.
he played better in the playoffs than Stafford played. And did he have a Calvin Johnson? No, he didn't. He had Braylon Edwards. He had Santonio Holmes. They were good.
He had a good
didn't,
cast of
He didn't
guys.
have a Calvin Johnson, though.
He didn't have Calvin.
Okay.
Big Meg.
Obviously Stafford's a better quarterback. I'm not even going to argue that. But he brought us to 2 AFC championships.
Easy.
And
Let's be real. Who brought you to those that AFC championship? The defense.
just
what
shot
was
you
the
some numbers,
what was
though.
the reason why we beat the Patriots? Mark Sanchez threw a 4th quarter touchdown to Santonio Holmes and was
Wasn't
clutch.
it 28-14 that score?
Yeah, because David Harris also picked off Brady.
Okay.
But Sanchez was clutch.
Uh-huh.
He literally threw the go ahead touchdown to put us up. Like, Sanchez was clutch in those playoff games.
It was getting nostalgia.
In the AFC Championship in 2009, we lost to the Colts. The very next year we see them, we whooped them.
Bro, I was getting memories.
You didn't whoop them. You beat us on a last-second field goal. Relax.
I'm just saying.
Us, me and Payne.
Yeah, I was confused there for a minute. You talking about
I'm just saying. Sanchez, at least he got those. He has, man.
Nah, I can
He
understand.
has 4
that was
playoff
a great
wins.
moment. That was a great time in football.
He has 4 playoff
It
wins.
was a great time
4-2.
in football.
Yep.
It was.
It was a great time to be a Jets fan. On
was
to
a
the
decade
Manning,
ago.
on to Peyton Manning and Eli Manning. So there's this thing going around, this conspiracy theory about the ManningCast curse, because anybody that shows up on the ManningCast, they lose the very next week. So Travis Kelce, week 1, lost week 2. Russell Wilson, week 1, lost week 2. Gronk, week 2, lost week 3. Stafford, week 3, lost week 4. Brady, week 7, lost week 8 to the Saints. And Josh Allen on week 8, lost week 9 to the Jaguars. And fun fact, Eli Manning was hit with 3 FCC complaints for sticking out his middle finger during the broadcast on one of them. And they didn't do a Manning cast for this Bears and Steelers game.
I was wondering, why didn't they just have the
They're
week
doing
off?
11 games a year, and they're picking the best ones they want to do.
That was smart because this game wasn't that
Yeah.
great. I mean, watching it was great, but in terms of the build up for it,
So
game was
the
solid.
Jags beat the Bills 9-6, and are you starting to buy into this Manning cast curse? Do you think it's a real thing?
I'll be honest, it might be.
Is this as real as the Madden curse? That's the biggest question.
That is the realest curse there ever was. The
Yeah,
only
that's what
person
I
to
said.
break it was
Brady,
Tom
right?
Brady. That's
Tom Brady's
crazy.
the GOAT.
And Mahomes, actually.
Oh, Mahomes did
Mahomes-
break
But,
it.
but now Mahomes is struggling.
Yeah.
He was on this this Madden cover.
think it
Him
was-
and Brady, and now Brady might.
Yeah, bro, it's tough.
That's a tough curse.
It is tough. That being said, bro.
Wait, hold up. Tom Brady and Mahomes were both on this past
Yep.
Madden cover. So did Madden just choose who's going to get cursed, and they chose Mahomes instead of Brady?
I don't know. It's weird because
I just
they
think
both,
Brady's different.
No, because you got to think about it too. They both broke it. They're the only 2 guys to break the curse. So now they threw it on at the same time, and now it's just one of the guys.
We
that
got
can
a
break it.
reputation with Hall.
Yeah, so-
Throw them both on.
I don't know. That's
Bro, this Monday night curse is crazy, actually. The Jags beating the Bills is ultimately all I needed to know about this.
yeah.
Nah, but on some real, the Bills should not have lost this game. It is inexcusable. So, I mean, as much as we want to joke about this curse, Bills should never have lost this game. Jaguars' defense was excellent this past Sunday. Josh Allen sacking Josh Allen intercepting Josh Allen.
It was just a wild day for them. Like,
Bro, that was every time Josh Allen did something to Josh Allen, I was freaking out. But what it comes down to is the Bills' lack of run. I said it early in the season. My biggest concern for them was their run offense. Josh Allen cannot be the primary leading rusher for the Bills if they want to be successful and compete for a championship. Do I still think they compete for a championship? Absolutely. That being said, do I think that they could win a championship with this current offensive scheme? I don't. I don't believe in, and even though Zach Moss has been excellent in the red zone, I'm not a true supporter of his. Devin Singletary, another one. Well, actually, Zach Moss is actually hurt. He has a concussion right now. So now you have Devin Singletary, who in his time actually has been pretty solid, but for some reason the Bills just don't trust him. The issue with Devin Singletary is not that fast. So I can understand why there would be some hesitation to just be completely faithful or
he's not a workhorse back.
He's not a workhorse back. He is solid. He's a solid receiving back, but ultimately he's not an every down back. And until they find that every down back or someone that they can at least trust to just put back there and do a job for them, I'm not all in on them. Their defense is great. It has been great. I mean, but going against Jacksonville, stopping them to 9 points, like obviously that's impressive anytime you stop an offense. But regardless of
CJ
that,
Beathard did his thing when he came in.
that's funny. I saw your tweet on that he did more than Trevor did in his game. But
He really did. He threw a touchdown that
Trevor,
called back.
Trevor missed a wide. Was it Marvin Jones? I think he missed him wide open. That probably would have been a touchdown. That probably would have sealed the game regardless of that. But even still, you cannot win games consistently if your only method to win is passing the ball. You need to at least have some kind of run presence, period. And when your quarterback is that primary ball handler to run the ball, that's when you know you have a problem. Not everyone's going to be the Ravens where Lamar can do it. Because even still, you still have, with all the injuries that they've had in that backfield, to Gus Edwards, to J.K. Dobbins, that you can bring in a guy off the street like Devonta Freeman and him still be efficient on 14 carries, rushing for over 70 yards. Because Lamar Jackson allows that run offense to be as successful as it is. Josh Allen, you're not scheming for him to run. You're scheming for Lamar Jackson to run. So all you really have to do is, if I'm a defense and I'm scheming for the Bills, I understand who I have to look out for. Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs has not been what we had expected him to be this season, at least. I know in fantasy because I have him on my squad. He's wide receiver 22, I believe, this year. And that's absurd because last season... Do
you think that's a credit to just Josh Allen not being as great as we thought he would be now?
I don't think it's on Josh Allen, truthfully. I think Josh Allen's doing a great job of spreading the love. Because we see Cole Beasley from time to time having some good games.
Stephon Diggs not being... Because that's the same with D-Hop right now. Spreading the love so his stats don't look as great as it is.
But D-Hop actually is still effective in the red zone. And D-Hop has a bunch of touchdowns. Stephon Diggs, what he made him so effective last season was the volume of targets and receptions that he was getting. We're still seeing the targets, not seeing that much volume on receptions and what comes after that, truthfully. Because I think he did lead the league in receptions. I think he was top 3 in yards. And he just has, I think he's at like 500 yards, around 500 yards so far this season. We need to see them get more efficient in the run game. Once the run game starts to be there, I have nothing to say about the Bills. I think they are one piece away from being that true contender. But until then, they're going to still have this same crunch on their back right now, and it's not going to elude them until they address this current situation that they're in. They're not going to have the success that they ultimately want.
I think there's a couple problems with the Bills, and you can look at the run game and point to that and be like, that's the main thing, and I think it's a problem. I don't know how big of a problem. I don't know if it's costing them games, is what I'm saying, because ultimately their defense is great, but on the back end, their safeties, their secondary, their linebackers, they don't generate pressure. Mm-hmm. They don't generate pressure, and that's huge. They drafted Gregory Rousseau, and he's been okay as a rookie, but he hasn't been game-changing. Yeah. And they used that first-round pick to draft him. They could have went out and drafted Najee or maybe Javonte Williams because they don't have a running back. And it's kind of weird that the Bills didn't go in the direction of trying to address it because they're an offensive-first team. Their defense is great because Sean McDermott is there. He's a defensive coach. But the Bills all last season, they embrace that offensive identity. And for them not to try and maximize their offense was kind of a brain dead move to me. I don't know why they didn't do that. But the offensive line isn't very good. I mean, for Josh Allen, the edge rusher on Jacksonville, to have a forced fumble, 8 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and an interception. I mean, he had a career day. Oh my God, it was awesome. Taven Bryan, which up to this point has been a first-round bust, had 2 sacks against the Bills. Like, say what you want about Josh Allen playing bad, and I don't think he played his best, but the offensive line was horrible that
really
day.
Bad.
Jacksonville got after them all the time. I didn't really see receivers open much. I just think it was a bad day for Buffalo because they kind of shrugged off Jacksonville, and that's why versus the Jets this Sunday, they're going to come out ready to play, and Mike White is starting, so hopefully they do come out ready to play. And they showcase.
Oh, you say that?
You're happy about that,
They show out against the Jets. Yeah, man, because we got to stop this narrative.
Yeah.
What narrative?
That Mike White is like that.
Yeah, because now Connor Hughes, the Jets beat reporter, is like, if Mike White plays well, then he's going to keep on starting. Robert Saleh said that. But he didn't really say that. He just implied it, and Connor ran with it and is making that a story. But all these Jets reporters are trying to clickbait this stuff, and I'm not trying to fall into it. But whatever. I'm going to stop reading the outside noise and just go off of my opinion because they're definitely taking me off my game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that they're going to come out ready to play. This is just a game that needed to wake them up a little bit. But
I'm with you.
I'm not fully confident. I'm not fully confident in any team in the AFC right now. I have the most confidence in Tennessee right now.
Which is fine. Listen, I've been down on Tennessee basically all season. Truthfully, and I have to be real. I got to stop hating. Defensively, they're for real. And I've given a lot of hate to their defense, but what they did this past Sunday night was great. Their interior pressure is solid. Jeffrey is like that. Obviously, is it Bud Dupree? Is that who I'm thinking of?
Well, he's not. He's been okay. It's Harold Landry.
Excuse me. Thank you. The pressure that they're getting on the interior has been what's been one of their strong points and why they've been getting or allowing their secondary to make such plays. Byard, as you've mentioned for sure, has been excellent this season. One of the best safeties in this league right now, at least, especially man-to-man. He's been one of their bright spots, if not the bright spot of that defense. I got to give them their credit for sure. They look for real.
You picked Tennessee
to what?
To come out the AFC?
No, he's just saying that right now Buffalo. He just feels confident.
Oh, you picked Buffalo? Like right now?
Not right now, but before the season.
Oh.
I picked Buffalo.
I thought you picked I thought I heard you just say you picked Tennessee.
No, he's saying right now he feels the most confident in Tennessee, which is fair. I mean, they've been the most consistent up until this point.
I feel like every team in the AFC at a point has been consistent and then had their little up and down moment. You know, Buffalo was at a point consistent.
To talk about Tennessee, like Tennessee has beaten the Bills, the Chiefs, the Colts twice, and the Rams. So out of any team in the AFC, the Titans have the most impressive wins.
No doubt.
And the win against the Chiefs was a dominant one. Against the Rams was a dominant one. Against the Bills, it was a great game. It was a great game. Against the Colts, the first game was dominant. The second one was closer, but they still pulled away with the win. They beat the Rams 28-16, as we mentioned earlier. They're now 7-2. They sit atop the AFC. This wasn't an offensive game, though. This was a defensive game. Tannehill threw for 142 yards. And Foreman, McNichols, Peterson, that trio rushed for 69 yards. And that is their fewest yards in a win since Week 3 in 2012 and a 44-41 win against Matthew Stafford and the Lions. So the last time the Titans have ran for 69 for this less yards, like fewest yards, they beat Matthew Stafford on the Lions.
Wow, that's ironic.
Yeah. And it wasn't a game where Matthew Stafford came back. Actually lost 44-41. He lost a close game.
Ooh, okay.
I'm just letting you know. But
damn, losing that 44-41, that hurts.
Trash bag.
Defense is trash.
In 2019, Tennessee was my sleeper team in the AFC, and they went on to go to the AFC Championship, and they had a chance to go to the Super Bowl that year. The very next year in 2020, I don't know what it was about them, because I felt like all the pieces were there for them to have even more success. I mean, they had Harold Landry still. They had Jeffrey Simmons. They had Jadeveon Clowney, who was supposed to change their defense at least somewhat. Like, they had the players. Like, they had players. Adoree Jackson was there. Kevin Byard was still there. Jayon Brown was still there. Rashawn Evans was still there. They had all their guys. They only really lost Logan Ryan and Jarrell Casey, who really didn't even play. But their defense was one of the worst last year. Like, if you just look at what they did last year. Last year, they had 19 sacks through 16 games last year, which was one of the worst in the league. I think it was the worst. This year, they have 23 sacks, and they're tied for 6th. They create some of the most pressure in the league, and it's because Jeffrey Simmons has taken that next step. I think he's the second best defensive tackle in football right now. Harold Landry has been great. Bud Dupree has been okay. Right. Danico Autry has been amazing in the run. And Kevin Byard has been playing like the best safety in football. And before the season, even when they lost Kenny Vaccaro, I said they'll be fine. Amani Hooker's a good safety. Janoris Jenkins has played really well. And even like their corners, you don't really know them. Like Elijah Molden, Chris Jackson. You don't know their corners. Nobody knows them. But they played great. Like against the Rams, it's not like Tennessee was disguising what they were doing.
Yeah.
It was a lot of cover 3, but it was a lot of man-to-man. And these corners held up against Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. It's not like they were not getting destroyed by them.
I feel like
they held them to quiet games.
A lot of that came from the pressure that they were getting.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But Stafford can get rid of the ball quicker if his guys are open. And his guys weren't open. And now they're getting Christian Fulton back. And Christian Fulton put on a clinic versus DK Metcalf. Had him in jail that game again when they faced off. So Christian Fulton, now that he's coming back, this team looks better. And I think, I'm not sure if I said it in a couple podcasts before, but I said I trust Tennessee's defense more than their offense. Tannehill has taken a step back this season. He hasn't been what he's been last year.
He's been a manager, a big manager this season.
Even in that game versus the Rams, I mean, he had 142 yards. He wasn't outstanding. And in fact, like, you know, he's, like you said, he's just managing the game. But, man, I think the Titans, it's really hard to deny that they're not the best team in the AFC, not only record-wise, but just in terms of the faith you have in this team, because time and time again, they're proving everybody wrong, and it's their defense that's leading the way.
They haven't, and you know what's crazy? Because they walked into the season, you know, when they got Julio Jones, people were like, oh, my God, this is going to be one of the best offenses in the league. You know, it was a big splash. But even then, you look at this year, like you said, Tannehill hasn't been great. A.J. Brown hasn't been great and hasn't been on the field as consistent as you want him to be. Julio has been in and out the lineup, and he doesn't look like the same Julio. The only consistent on offense has been Derrick Henry, and he's out for a couple weeks. That defense has shown people that they're better than what we expected. And for that, they've knocked out wins against the Colts. They've completely dominated their division, and they've also beat other teams within their conference. And I think that goes to show that Mike Vrabel is a really, really good coach, and it goes to show that this team is better than expected. Now, do I trust them come playoff time? You know, it's tricky because, you know, you still got guys like Josh Allen. If Pat Mahomes get into the playoffs, I don't know if I can say I fully trust somebody over him. You know, you still got Lamar in Baltimore. It's tough, but I would say they do right now look like the best team in the AFC because of the fact of teams who they beat and how much injuries have hit this team, and they're still able to pull out wins. You know, the adversity is real for them, but at the same time, I don't know if I can trust them, you know, because, you know, you walk into a playoff game, and if I see them and the Chiefs, it would be hard for me, even as much as the Chiefs have looked, how bad that they looked, it would be hard for me to say I'm going to pick the Titans over the Chiefs just because one game, playoff time, like you said, who do you trust? I would trust Mahomes in that situation. So, it just depends on matchups, and it depends on the playoffs. But right now, the Titans do look like the best.
Derrick Henry's coming back.
I figured he would.
Yeah, he's coming back. They say he'll be back by the playoffs.
I did see that.
Is he? So he's done for the season. He's come back for the playoffs.
No, they're saying he could come back for the regular season.
Yeah,
they might as well just wait to the playoffs. Damn,
I don't know. You kind of want him to get his feet wet.
Yeah, I mean, damn, he's about to have 2K, Ken.
Yeah,
he definitely was on his way to 2K.
Crazy. That just ruined his whole run.
No, not even.
Nah, like his 3-year run.
I know what you're saying, but if he comes back and he's like that in the playoffs,
his 3-year run, he would have had like 5,000, 6,000 yards.
Yeah, something stupid.
But like you mentioned, I really think that their defense has been way better than their offense. And Ryan Tannehill hasn't been the same. And I agree. Before the season with Julio, with AJ, I thought they would pass the ball more. I thought Anthony Firkser was going to probably step up, but it's really been Joff Swaim. He's been the one to really step up. He's been their best tight end so far. They have to involve Julio more. And it's not like Julio is not open. Julio is open. And the one play that stuck out to me is that I don't know if you guys saw this in the game, but Tannehill threw the ball to Chester Rogers, and he was like cracked from the back. Like he got hit hard as hell. Like he got hit hard as hell. And Chester Rogers, like he was injured. He was down for a while. That's how hard the hit was. And on that play, Julio was wide open on a post in the end zone, wide open. And Tannehill just missed him. And he just didn't see him because he thought the safety was going to lurk that way. But
he had time?
He did have time.
Okay.
But that's what I think separates Tannehill from at least the elite quarterbacks, because in that coverage, I believe it was cover 3. And because it's cover 3, a post is not supposed to be open on cover 3 because there's 3 defensive backs back. Mm-hmm. But on that play, because Tannehill was looking at Chester Rogers on a shallow cross, the safety lurked up, and Julio was wide open. And great quarterbacks move safeties with their eyes and make that throw. And Tannehill had moved the safety, but he didn't make the throw. So Julio has been open, and I think he's still a great receiver. He just needs that volume. He needs more targets. And, you know, I'm not impressed with their offense. You know, I think their offensive line gets beat a lot. I'm not impressed by their offensive line. A.J. Brown, he drops passes in crucial situations. He's a playmaker, there's no doubt. He's an elite player. But he drops passes in crucial situations right now since Derrick Henry's gone. They don't have a true running game, even though I am impressed with McNichols. I like McNichols a lot. but they're really going to have to rely on their defense to win games. And that's really what it's going to be. Unless Tannehill somehow steps it up and he's able to be even better, they're going to have to rely on their defense to win games, because if it wasn't for their defense creating 2 turnovers that led to scores, this game is a very close game.
I'll tell you why I'm surprised, truthfully, about this defense and why I've had such a tough time gauging the Titans. They're still one of the worst total points defense. It's just a tongue twister.
No, they're not.
Total,
not no more.
After this week, for sure. You're right, 100%. But prior to this week, they were like bottom 5 in total points given up.
No, they were like 23rd. They were 22nd. They're like a top 16
We
defense.
spoke about it on the podcast. That's why I remember.
That was a couple weeks ago.
No, that was this past weekend, or this past episode that we spoke. That's what I'm saying. So I've had a tough time gauging that because they've given up so much points. But then this week they go and they put on a defensive showcase that you just have to do nothing but give them their props.
But they've done it before, though. Like against the Chiefs, they put on a defensive showcase.
But the thing about the Chiefs that's different from the Rams is that the Chiefs offense right now, it's schemable. Because all you have to do is cover over the top. That seems to be the way that you can stop the Chiefs. But right now, from what I've seen from the Rams, I haven't seen much of stopping the Rams right now. But what they did was pressure Matthew Stafford, force him to go outside the pocket. But once he went outside the pocket, he had success. But once he was staying in the pocket, he had minimal time to have his reads, to survey the field. And that's what gave them their success. But once he started to get outside the pocket, that's when Matthew Stafford started to get a little bit more comfortable. I think that the difference, or why I find it difficult to go all in on them, is because I've seen them give up a 30-point game to the Colts. I get it, it's in division, of course. I've seen them give up points to Buffalo Bills. I've seen them give up a ridiculous.
Bills, though.
No, for sure. But at the same time, we just saw the Bills score only 6 points against the Jags.
What about 27 against the Jets? They gave up 27 to the Jets.
A lot of that was because our defense was great that day. Honestly. And Zach Wilson was
I was about to say, but what did the defense have to do with Zach Wilson putting on a show?
I mean, you have a bit of a point, but I just don't really take those games into account much. And okay. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but like versus Buffalo, just because Buffalo only scored 6 points against the Jaguars, it doesn't mean that I'm not impressed by their offense.
I understand. No, I agree. I'm
not
impressed.
Buffalo can put up 30 on any team.
Almost any team. Almost any team.
On their best day, you can't stop them. Mm-hmm. I really think you can't stop Buffalo. You can't stop Buffalo. And a lot of the scores really have to do with how fast teams are scoring. Like if the Titans score pretty fast, then, you're going to have more of those drives. You're going to have more drives to really go off that. And the Jets game, I mean, Tennessee, what can I say, man? Like it just... They had no offensive weapons. They were going 3 and out a lot. They weren't doing anything on offense, so it was giving the Jets a lot of opportunities.
See, but that's when you rely on the defense, and they let them down.
But the defense didn't let them down, though.
To a degree. But listen, Zach Wilson lit them up.
Zach Wilson made big-time plays, but he also missed a lot of plays that could have cost the Jets the game.
I understand. That's true.
For example, on that boot to the end zone, the defense stopped that. And the Jets had to settle for a field goal because of that. Yep. So they stopped them in crucial situations. It's not like they didn't. It's that the offense couldn't get anything going. They didn't have any receivers that game. And Derrick Henry, even though on the box score it shows something completely different, for the most part, wasn't dominant. Like the Jets were holding him, in check a little bit, even though he almost rushed for 200. And like the Jets, the entire first half, their offense didn't get going at all. Like I stopped watching the game because they didn't get going. The Jets were a second half team at that point, so I'm not holding that game over the Titans because I've seen them blow out the Chiefs. I've seen them do this to the Rams, and the Rams, the most efficient offense in football, and that pressure they created, it wasn't by way of blitzing a lot. Yeah, they just rushed 4. And Jeffrey Simmons, you couldn't block him. You really couldn't block him in that game. It's not like they were playing man and cover 3 mostly the entire game, and they took all the big plays away from the Rams. Like, for me at least, I think it's more impressive that I give the Titans more credit for making the Rams work that hard on offense, making the Rams struggle, then I discredit them for losing to the Jets. Okay. Like, because they've beaten as many
no
great
doubt.
teams as you can beat.
I agree.
Or as many good teams as you can beat. Like,
I agree.
no other team in the AFC has that resume of wins.
I guess my worry is that this offense continues to just be a game managing type offense, especially without Derrick Henry, and that the defense has a bad day. Like it's shown that it's capable of having a bad day, and the offense is not able to pick up the slack, and they can get picked. I mean, I think that just speaks more so to the conversation we're having, that the AFC is such a wild card right now that we really don't know what's going to happen.
So do you trust Ryan Tannehill to make those big plays come playoff time?
Ryan Tannehill's not a bad quarterback by any stretch of the means.
He's a top 50
I think he's a solid ball player for sure. I just think that
Where are you going with this?
it's just is Derrick Henry going to be on the field? Because reports right now is that Derrick Henry is going to be here.
Yeah, Derrick Henry's going to be in the field.
If Derrick Henry's on the field, I trust Tannehill, because Derrick Henry opens up the offense so much with what he can do.
I honestly think that the reason why the Titans started out slow and why they haven't found the groove offensively yet is because everybody's still adjusting to each other. This is a team that has brand new coaches. Defensive coordinator, Shane Bowen, hired him in-house.
I was going to say, O-line's been a mess all season.
It takes a while for this guy to implement his scheme and for players to buy in and understand their assignments. And now we're seeing that things are clicking. And when things are clicking, this defense is great.
Solid.
And offensively, it's great when it's clicking, not just solid. It's great. It's great.
I gotta wait.
Yeah.
And then
listen, I have no problem telling you that you're right eventually, but as of right now, I'm not ready.
And then offensively, Todd Downing, new OC, went from Arthur Smith to him. Yep. He's still adjusting and trying to implement his game plan and see what works and what doesn't work for him and what Tannehill likes and doesn't like. So everybody's learning, and this is a brand new team in terms of the staff, the OC and DC. So they're all learning, and that's the thing about football. Through the course of the season, teams get better.
Definitely.
And right now, we're at the second half of the season. Teams have to finish strong. And the teams that finish the hottest, we usually know are the ones that tend to go the farthest.
Definitely.
2019, prime example, the Titans again, they started the season off 1-4, I believe. They went on a hot streak to end off the season, went to the AFC Championship. They were just a hot team at that point. So it's really about how they finish off the season, but right now it looks like they're trending in that direction. Talk about the Las Vegas Raiders. To talk about them, they're a dysfunctional organization. There's nothing much to say about that. In this past month alone, October 8th, John Gruden, his first emails leak. October 10th, Gruden coaches versus Chicago. They lose 20-9. October 11th, more emails leak. Gruden resigns or gets fired, whichever one you want to use. November 2nd, Henry Ruggs charged with a DUI resulting in death. Ruggs is cut. November 6th, video shows Damon Arnett flashing guns. 2 days later, November 8th, Arnett gets cut.
Flashing guns and also threatening to kill someone.
Yeah,
Bro was
Damon
wild.
Arnett.
Did you see that
crazy.
video? Bro, he was bugging.
And the Raiders are a dysfunctional organization. We all know that. But despite that, they still have a chance to win a division, which is actually crazy. Las Vegas Raiders 2020 draft. One of the worst drafts that we've seen in recent memory. Henry Ruggs is in prison. Damon Arnett cut, both first-round picks. Lynn Bowden, the third-round pick, was a quarterback and wide receiver. Was traded in training camp, didn't even play a snap for them. Brian Edwards is starting for them. He's an okay receiver. Tanner Muse, cut. John Simpson is starting now because Incognito's hurt, but he was a backup. And Amik Robertson, he's benched. This draft was a miss. And not only that, but in 2019, Mike Mayock and John Gruden, they drafted Clelin Ferrell with the 4th overall pick, and he's not even seeing the field right now. The players that they drafted, they drafted him over: Devin White, Josh Allen, Ed Oliver, Rashawn Gary, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Jeffrey Simmons. I mean, the list.
Oh my God.
The list goes on.
One of the worst picks ever, man.
The Raiders are such a dysfunctional organization, but yet they continue to win
games.
It's insane.
And it's crazy, and it's because the Raiders actually have the highest pressure rate in the NFL. They create the most pressure of any team in the NFL, and the interesting thing about that is that they blitz the least of any team in the NFL. So they create pressure without blitzing, But what do you make of this dysfunction with the Raiders? What are your thoughts on it? All of the things that have been happening to them.
This is a culture that has a bunch of players that don't believe in themselves or the team. There's no accountability in the locker room. This is just it's a weird situation. This is a team that, like you said, in 2020 drafted all these players, and half of them are gone or cut. John Gruden with the emails and the disrespect and the racism that was brought in here. It's tough, because like you said, they're still winning games, but the lack of accountability, the lack of guys just coming in the locker room just for a paycheck. They don't come in. They come into the Raiders. They don't believe in themselves. They don't even play for something. You even go back to Randy Moss. As talented as Randy Moss was, when he played for the Raiders, there would be times where he didn't show up. There would be times where he just played just to play, where he didn't put in his 110% effort. So I think this organization, dating back to that, has shown the ability to have players that just don't believe in the franchise, don't believe in the coaches, and just come, like I said, for a paycheck. And, it sucks for Derek Carr, because even when you watch his post games, he seems like he really loves the game. He seems like he really loves his organization, and he loves the guys he plays with. I mean, he was talking about Henry Ruggs and how he's going to be there for him and show that love and that support for him, which is, dope, even though he did, kill somebody, but that's still pretty dope. And I think, having a quarterback like that for your organization and then not putting the proper players around, putting guys who want to, succeed, and putting guys who don't want to fight for each other on a daily basis, I think that really is bad. I mean, it sucks, but yet they're still winning games. So honestly, it's kind of like a 50-50 thing, because they have all these mistakes, all this dysfunction, yet they're still one of the best teams in their division.
I'll tell you what's pretty crazy. They have a top 10 offense in total yards. I believe they're even better than that. They are, I think, just out of the top 5, either 6 or 7. They have been pretty efficient in moving the ball, even with Ruggs being out. Obviously, Antonio Brown used to be a part of this team. That's gone. So they really are only relying on Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, Brian Edwards. Zay Jones has gotten involved a little bit over these past couple of games as well.
They just signed Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun did just join the roster as well. And Josh Jacobs, who's a good player when he's on the field. Health is his only concern when it comes to me evaluating him. I think in terms of the intangibles of the game, I think he can run efficiently through the tackles. I think he's a pretty shifty back, strong back for sure, can catch the ball as well. I got to give credit to Derek Carr. Derek Carr has been the most consistent, the most durable, just everything that you could want in a franchise quarterback, Derek Carr has been for this Raiders team. And he's putting them on his shoulders and doing everything he can to get them to victory. Hunter Renfrow has taken a huge increase this season in targets. I think almost every single game he's seen a minimum of 6 to 7 targets a game. He's been pretty great for him. One person that I'm waiting for their breakout really is Darren Waller. Darren Waller has not been, up until this point, the Darren Waller that we've been accustomed to these last couple of seasons. Game 1, he comes out 19 targets, and we're thinking that we're about to see one of the all-time great tight end seasons, just obviously overreacting to that performance. And then if you could look for me real quick, has he touched double-digit targets since then? I think this past weekend against the Giants was his closest to that. Gotcha. Waller has just, I don't understand why they're not trying to make him more of a focal point in this offense, given the fact that he is easily their best offensive player in terms of skill position. I do just think overall on both sides of the ball, they're just playing a clean game.
Last week 9, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
11 targets, 7 receptions.
Okay.
And then before that was 5, 8, 7, 7, 7, 7.
So only double digits twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Week 1 and week 9.
It shouldn't be, especially
week 1 he had 19 targets.
I can understand that he's obviously their main target, and a tight end going against a number 1 corner is never beneficial.
He's only had over 70 yards twice.
Darren Waller has obviously shown that ability to get open on number 1 corners, but at the same time, you're asking a lot out of a guy who's just not wide receiver fast. Darren Waller is fast, arguably the fastest tight end in the league. He's not. You just go against a number 1 corner, it's difficult. I just think ultimately, in terms of the extracurriculars, it's killing this team, and I think that we're going to start to see that eventually start to take a toll on this squad. Derek Carr is trying his hardest to keep this squad together, and it shows. It shows in the stats. It shows on the field. Losing this one to the Giants hurts. Giants are not the best team, but you've been solid. You picked them to win. I was shaky about that. Giants are not the best team both sides of the ball. Offensively, they have inconsistent weapons in terms of staying on the field. You really can't rely on any of those options. And defensively, they've been shaky all year. It's a game that the Raiders probably looked at and thought that it's definitely a winnable game.
You think so?
The Raiders probably looked at it and thought they should win this game.
I think they just... I mean, the Henry Ruggs situation just happened.
I
really thought it was more of an emotional loss.
They still won a game that last week.
It was one of those.
I'm saying off Gruden.
I think
everything that happened with
Gruden thing was a bit different, though. I think the Henry Ruggs situation, I think, hit them a little bit harder than the Gruden one.
It's just unfortunate that all this extra stuff's happening off the field. Like I've said so many times, we should be focusing on the good that they've been doing, but we can't. It's impossible to just ignore all the outside stuff, given how egregious and terrible the things that have been happening off the field. This Ruggs situation could have been avoided. This Arnett situation could have been avoided. It's comes down to what you said, and it's a discipline thing.
You know, they played in Las Vegas last year, but this is their first year playing with fans, and I mean, what a rocky and a bumpy start. I don't want to make it sound like they're horrible at drafting, because they're not. I mean, Nate Hobbs was a late-round pick, and he's starting right now. That was a great pick. Max Crosby's one of the best edge rushers in the league. They drafted him, and Trayvon Merrick has been really good in coverage. Jonathan Abrams, when he's healthy, he's good. Josh Jacobs, they drafted him. Hunter Renfrow drafted him. Brian Edwards drafted him. You know, it's not like this team has been bad. Cohen Miller, Alex Leatherwood. So this team isn't horrible at drafting. It's just they're not great at drafting in the top of the draft in the first round. I mean, 2 of your first-round picks in 2020 in Ruggs and Arnett aren't on the team because of character issues, basically. And that's something you scout. That's something you analyze. You know, character issues. And, you know, they made a mistake. I think they both made egregious mistakes.
Oh, my God, so bad.
You know, it's even tough for me to say this, but I kind of feel like Damon Arnett is a little bit worse because he was probably in the right mindset. Like, Henry Ruggs, the action, what he did was by far worse.
I understand what you mean.
But at least he is intoxicated. Like, he wasn't in the right mindset. Like, Damon Arnett probably knows full and well what he's doing. And that comes down to character issues and scouting that. Both are horrible situations. Despite this, though, we're going to talk about the AFC West later on this show. I think the Raiders really have a chance to win this division. And as crazy as that sounds after everything that's happened, they create the most pressure in the NFL, even though they don't blitz, which makes the life on their secondary much less easier. They don't have to, they don't have to lock up for a large amount of time because the pressure is just getting to the quarterback on numerous occasions. Derek Carr is one of the better quarterbacks in the league, and I wholeheartedly believe in that. Deshaun Jackson fills in that skill set that they lost with Henry Ruggs because he's a deep threat. And I think it's time that we start appreciating Derek Carr a little bit more for everything that he's dealt with within the Raiders organization. He is the Matthew Stafford of the AFC. Well, what Matthew Stafford was when he was with the Lions in the NFC. Derek Carr is that. In 6 of Carr's 7 seasons with the Raiders, they have had a bottom 20 defense. This is the only year where they don't have a bottom 20 defense. And despite this, he has consistently been one of the more efficient and accurate quarterbacks. When John Gruden first got to the Raiders, he traded Derek Carr's #1 receiver in Amari Cooper, and he's been excellent for the Cowboys ever since. You can just see Dak Prescott's numbers before Cooper and then after Cooper. There was a massive difference. And when the team was actually good around Carr, when it was actually functional, he led them to a 12-3 record, was in the MVP race. I don't think he would have won it because Matt Ryan was just on one that season. And then broken fibula, week 16 in the fourth quarter. He doesn't get to play in the playoffs. The Raiders' best year in who knows how long. I mean, Derek Carr has been the only stable thing for the Raiders for the past couple of years. And when I look at Derek Carr and the Raiders, I just immediately think Matthew Stafford and the Lions. But somehow, we don't view Derek Carr, we don't give Derek Carr that benefit of the doubt. When people talk about Derek Carr, they don't talk about him in that way of he's dealing with dysfunction. Nobody ever, openly says, I feel bad for Derek Carr in his situation. But when Stafford was in Detroit, that's all people said for him. And I don't want to make this a comparison thing, but Derek Carr has been through hell in Oakland and in Las Vegas, and he has made the best of his situation. He is the most underrated quarterback in the NFL, and I don't think it's close.
That was a strong dialogue. That was a strong.
I don't think it's close. I think he's the most underrated quarterback in the NFL.
I'm trying to really think off the top of my head.
Probably is, though. I mean, aside from Stafford, it's not Stafford. Then
it's not Stafford
not
anymore.
Not anymore.
It's probably Carr.
And even Stafford and Carr are in the same tier.
Tannehill got his love last year.
Yeah, you might be valid. I mean, in terms of accomplishments and what they have done in the NFL right now.
I mean, in terms of just
quarterback
play.
I look at players and I think that, people get criticized a little bit too harshly. Like, I think Tua gets criticized a little bit too harshly.
Oh, my God.
I do. I mean, Baker obviously gets criticized, and then he'll come back with a game like he just had against the Bengals and stuff like that.
For example, I don't know when it was. I think it was 2019.
But you might be right.
There was this narrative around NFL media that Derek Carr was like the problem for the Raiders.
That's egregious.
He's shell-shocked under pressure and when he gets hit and all this stuff. And it was one of the dumbest narratives at the time because I'm just thinking to myself, have they ever watched Derek Carr play? Have they ever watched a competitor that he is to say he's shell-shocked? To act like, he was the problem with the Raiders was just ridiculous. And I know that was a narrative at one point, and it wasn't true then, it's not true now, and it won't be true in the future. Derek Carr is the only thing that's holding that Raiders franchise together. And he's the reason, along with that elite pass rush, that they have a chance to win this division this year and exceed all of our expectations pretty much. John Gruden resigned from the Raiders, but he was on the hot seat for a while, especially after starting 6-4 in 2019 and 2020 because he didn't make the playoffs. And another coach who could maybe be on the hot seat is Kyle Shanahan because 49ers have a losing record right now. They're 3-5, I believe, and they just lost to Arizona without Kyler Murray, without DeAndre Hopkins, without A.J. Green. Do you believe that Shanahan should be on the hot seat?
I do, unfortunately, do think so. I mean, I do believe Shanahan's a great coach, and I think that if they do let him go, I think that he will have a job. But at this point in time, having a losing record with the San Francisco 49ers, I think people would look at that and think to a degree it's unacceptable. I will give him the benefit of the doubt. Obviously, his starting quarterback that he was a huge supporter of at the time, bringing in Jimmy G, he had early success with him. But then once Jimmy G started to get injured and really we couldn't see Jimmy G on the field on a consistent basis, started to get make things a little bit tricky for him because obviously he's working with backup quarterbacks. We saw C.J. Beathard. We saw Nick Mullins last season. These guys still had success, but these aren't elite level quarterbacks, and you're only so limited. You can only be so limited given those types of players. But regardless of that, it doesn't matter who you put at running back. Shanahan will make you good. Outside of Trey Sermon, who seems to be the outlier, we saw Raheem Mostert have success. Jeff Wilson have success. Blanking off the top of my head. I'm sorry. The guy that Elijah Mitchell. Thank you. Elijah Mitchell comes in and he has success as well. It doesn't matter who Shanahan has behind in the backfield. He's going to have success. It's just he's not winning. And ultimately, what matters the most is wins. And I think that we're going to see San Fran move on from him. They're going to see what they have in Trey Lance, whether he's the answer or not. I think that it would be a mistake to move on from Shanahan because obviously you just let him spend your third-round pick on this quarterback. And the whole point was for him to have this offensive mind to combine with Trey Lance to see what they really could do. I just think that you can't watch another losing season go on, especially with the core of this roster being as young as it is. I think that they just have too many holes. Defensively, their secondary is not it. Obviously, they have a great D-line. Nick Bosa is one of the best players in the league. I think losing DeForest Buckner, that's something that Niner fans don't really speak about that I'm sure they're pretty heartbroken about. DeForest Buckner goes to the Colts and has been an impact player from them from day one. I just think too many losses are happening, too many seasons in a row. Obviously, you made the Super Bowl, but what have you done for me lately? Shanahan really hasn't done that much.
Well, for starters, DeForest Buckner has been all right this year.
No, he's not. Right. He's been really good.
he has to be on the hot seat. And I think, 2 years removed from the Super Bowl, like you said, what have you done for me lately? It's tough because I like Shanahan as a coach. I think you hit it on the head. He just makes players better. As a coach, when you're a guy who players believe in you, you make them much better than what they really look like. I think that's something that's good, especially in the NFL. But at the same time, you get Jimmy G. You guys go to the Super Bowl. You have one of the best defenses we've seen in a while, since the Jaguars, since the Denver Broncos days. That was an elite defense. You basically run the table through the NFC. You go to the Super Bowl. And for the most part, you handle the Chiefs up until the fourth where you choke and then Jimmy G does some nut stuff. But Jimmy G gets hurt next year. Damn near your whole defense gets hurt. And then you walk into this year. I was high on you. I think one of you, if it was you or you.
It was me.
Yeah, somebody else was high with me at this table. We were high on San Fran. You come back, your defense is healthy. But then Jason Verrett goes down early in the season, and then just injury. George Kittle hasn't been healthy all year. Like, it's just been injuries after injuries after injuries. I mean, you drafted Trey Lance. I think, Trey Lance is the perfect situation that can either really make or break Kyle Shanahan's position there. I feel like if he stays, Trey Lance can be the guy that keeps his job there or he loses it. But as of right now, like you said, he hasn't been winning. And Jimmy G's the only guy that's been winning at the quarterback position in San Fran. So with Jimmy G down, you're not going to see much winning. So I think he has to be at the hot seat at the moment because this team, even without all the health, we've seen coaches will their team to get wins, and this coach hasn't done that at the moment.
I don't think Shanahan's on a hot seat, and I know we had a little segment on like a couple podcasts ago about whether or not he's a top 10 coach in the NFL. And I don't think he's a top 10 coach, but damn, between 8 to 13, it was really hard to name any coaches better. He's definitely a top 15 coach, arguably like top 10. Some people, he's definitely top 10. People look at this loss and they're going to think it's because of Shanahan, but it's really not because of Shanahan. I mean, they lost 31-17. 2-score game in the first half on a drive where they have a lot of momentum. George Kittle fumbles the ball. They lose all of it. Arizona scores. Then when they were on their own side of the field, they're about to score again. When they were on the opponent's side of the field, on Arizona's side of the field, they're about to score again. Brandon Ayuk fumbles. So they had 2 fumbles in the first half that could have resulted in the score. The drive was going great. Fumble, turnovers, and that has nothing to do with Shanahan. He can't control those turnovers. The Cardinals got pressure repeatedly on Jimmy G, and the defense is just not good for the 49ers. In 3 of the Cardinals' first 4 drives, they scored a touchdown or a field goal. They were remarkably efficient. And in the second half, they scored a touchdown on their first 2 drives. So, if you can't stop the opposing team, what are you going to do? And Shanahan is not the defensive coordinator. He's the offense coordinator. Yep. He's the head coach, but he calls the plays, what I mean to say. So he's not handling the defense. That's not his fault. The only thing I can really fault Shanahan for in this game was that they were down 31-14 in the fourth quarter on Arizona's side of the field, and it was 4th and 14, and Shanahan decides to punt it. But I feel like if you're down 2 scores, you got to go for it at that point if it's the fourth quarter. That's the only thing that I can really hold against Shanahan. And really, this game, the box score made it look much worse than it actually was because I think Jimmy G played all right, albeit the circumstances. Sure. There was only 10 total carries in this game because they couldn't establish the run since they were behind the entire game, literally. The 49ers defense this year is a 25th ranked defense in the NFL. And it's not because of the talent they have, because Dee Ford is out, even though he really hasn't been what he was supposed to be given the contract he got. Javon Kinlaw, who was outstanding as a rookie last year, has been out. Dre Greenlaw has been out. Tart has been out. Jason Verrett has been out all year. Yep. He hasn't played. Their tackle, Mike McGlinchey, is out on offense. Raheem Mostert has been out. So they have a lot of injuries, and Kyle Shanahan is just in an unlucky situation where there's just a bunch of injuries on this roster. The few things you can blame on Shanahan are Brandon Ayuk just now starting to get his targets and getting in the game. But outside of that, I think Kyle Shanahan has done what he could with this roster. He's done the best he can. And Arizona just played a great game. Cliff Kingsbury has to start being regarded as one of the top play callers in the NFL.
No doubt about that.
I mean, there's no doubt. You talk all day about Kyler Murray this, Kyler Murray that. Kyler Murray is a great quarterback. There's no doubt about that. But I remember when we were having this Lamar-Kyler debate, you sat here and said that he made Christian Kirk. Well, Christian Kirk with Colt McCoy had 6 receptions, 91 yards, and threw a very nice pass over 30 yards. Could have scored on that. So Christian Kirk is just a damn good receiver. James Conner, 96 yards and 3 total touchdowns, and even Eno Benjamin got in on the action. I mean, Arizona was just great all around, and it was just a great game by them. I don't think it's time to put Shanahan on a hot seat. He's still a great coach in my opinion, but we're seeing the effects of losing Robert Saleh in the offseason and him going to be a head coach because Robert Saleh, say what you want about him, but with the Jets, going into the season, nobody thought the Jets had much talent on defense, and we still really don't, but he's maximizing it.
No doubt.
Like Michael Carter, Bryce Hall, like they're playing great. Our defensive line, they slipped up as recently, but they were playing great at one point. So Robert Saleh, at least in my opinion, has maximized the Jets defense. And without him there in San Fran, we're kind of seeing the effects of him leaving. But I think it's way too early to say Shanahan should be on the hot seat because I really think he's going to have about 2 to 3 more years left. You know, if Trey Lance develops into that, John Lynch and that ownership is going to give Kyle Shanahan at least 2 to 3 seasons with Trey Lance to see what he can become.
What if he's like really, really bad next year, though?
Trey Lance?
Yeah.
I think you start to worry a little bit, but I still don't think they'd move off from Kyle Shanahan.
They move off from Jimmy G for a fact after this year.
Yeah, Trey Lance is going to be the starter next year.
But the front office at the minimum right now is thinking, all right, Shanahan, you got to get it together. You don't think at least they're thinking that?
I think the front office is thinking
there
have been a lot of injuries.
Not to mention the division is getting better.
And it was last season too, though.
A lot of injuries last year.
That's what I'm saying. Last season they had a bunch of injuries. But this season, you still got your quarterback. You still got Deebo Samuel breaking out with the healthiest he's been in his entire career. I'm with you. Backfield
Kittle has been out too this year.
Kittle has been in and out of the lineup. I just think to a certain point, you're Shanahan. You still need to win a couple games. Like here, I'm looking at the schedule. They lost to Indianapolis 30-18. Indianapolis has been a solid team, but at that point in time, the Niners played excellent against Green Bay. They played very well against the Seahawks. Lost both. They didn't even make this one a game against Indianapolis. So, I mean, I feel like they just need to be more consistent and play teams that are on their level and beat them, at least more so than they have been at least this season. Chicago is a game they should have won. They did, and that's credit to them. But I'm looking at this Green Bay loss I can live with. The Seattle loss, 28-21 in conference. Obviously, that hurts, but you're home. You still it's a winnable game.
But the Indy loss is a weird game.
Ugh.
It's a weird game. I mean, it was raining hard as hell that game. Like,
and they're a run,
couldn't throw the ball.
Fair enough. But they're still a run first team.
They're a run first team, but you can't really do much if your offensive line is getting pushed.
Yep.
And that defensive line for the Colts is not
It's
not
not
bad.
a slouch.
It's really good.
No, it is definitely good. But at the same time, Niners still have a solid offensive line.
With the guys that they have out currently, I don't know.
Fair.
I don't think they have a great offense or even a solid one. I think their guards are not good. Like Laken Tomlinson is not good. Compton is not good. Like Alex Mack, he's okay, but like
he's
you know,
old as hell.
It's carried by
and
Trent.
there's a saying in the football world that it's much easier to help tackles than it is guards and centers and the interior of the offensive line, because with a tackle, you can put a tight end there to help him out. But in the interior, they're on an island. Like they have to just hold their own, and their interior of the offensive line isn't that great. So they have to fix that this coming offseason.
So Shanahan as a coach for the Niners, 6-10, 4-12, Super Bowl appearance, 6-10.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the best. Obviously, you go to the Super Bowl, you get a little bit of a leeway
to be fair,
in that
though,
sense.
these last 2 seasons have been pampered with a lot of injuries.
And I agree with that
a lot.
I agree
to all
with
his
that
key
wholeheartedly,
players.
for sure. And it was early in the season, so it was, to a degree, they didn't stand a chance. But I think you got to win more. Like 6 out of 10 with all the injuries, I guess, isn't horrible. But Mike Tomlin has never had the most stable lineup either, not the best defense, and still has never
had the best defense.
Not always, because the Killer Bees would have had a championship.
The what?
The Killer Bees, Big Ben,
Well,
Le'Veon,
listen to what you just
Antonio.
said there. He had Big Ben, Le'Veon, and AB.
I agree, but even he's a defensive coach and still managed to keep his team afloat.
Yeah, but
never had a losing season.
The offense was elite. Like,
it was elite.
There's nothing elite on the Niners right now. There's not an elite player on that offensive side of the football.
I disagree with that.
Outside
Debo is an
of-
elite.
He is.
Kittle is an elite.
He's injured. He's
But
in
back.
and out.
He's back.
He's back.
And he had over 100 yards in game 1.
When he's back, he's great.
All right,
He's elite.
All right, I agree.
But it's not like
Trent Williams is elite.
Trent Williams, yeah, but it's
So
not.
they have talent.
But the Steelers
They're
had a great
not
as a
offensive
whole,
line.
and I agree.
They had Le'Veon and Big Ben was an elite quarterback
But
at the
only
time too.
one winning season in his tenure.
Pittsburgh had the best running back in the league, the best wide
For sure,
receiver.
for
and
sure.
Big Ben, who's still playing at an elite
For
level.
sure.
Like, for example, in 2020, just last year, the Steelers started off undefeated because their schedule was ridiculously easy.
Yep.
But then in 2019, even when Big Ben was out and they had to start Mason Rudolph, that defense was the first ranked in the NFL.
It was great.
Like, they had something to keep them afloat. I don't think the 49ers really have anything that can keep them in games. Like, they don't have an elite quarterback that can keep them in games. They don't have an elite defense that can keep them in games.
I mean, we've seen Jimmy G have some success in this league.
But Jimmy G is not that good. He's okay.
I mean, he hasn't been terrible this season, truthfully.
He hasn't been bad.
He really
but he's
hasn't.
really
I
not that
mean,
good.
he threw for 300 the last 2 games, 326, 322.
He's been in
Had
and
a
out too.
stinker
Though.
against Indianapolis, but as you mentioned, weather played a factor.
If Jimmy G doesn't have a perfect situation around him, he does nothing. That's really what it is.
I mean, do you think he has a perfect situation around him now?
He doesn't.
And he's thrown for 300 yards these last couple of games. I don't think Jimmy's really ultimately the problem.
Jimmy G threw for 300 against Arizona
Jimmy G isn't-
as a byproduct because they were down the entire
I'm looking
game.
at
They
this
had to throw
defense,
the ball.
and it's absolute trash.
Jimmy G.
No, the defense is bad. There's no
Jimmy
doubt
G
about
isn't
it.
the problem, but he's not the solution either.
I think they need to really hone in on defense because it's
That's
obviously
their bread and butter when they're
to
healthy.
regular people. They're looking at the win-loss column, and all they're seeing are the more significant amount of losses than they have wins, and immediately they go to the head coach. But obviously Shanahan's an offensive-minded coach. But regardless, you can't ignore the losses.
I say this because, like, I made the point about Jimmy G because Deshaun Watson, even if he has a horrible defense, he's gonna keep you in games. Matt Ryan has had abysmal defenses for the past couple seasons. He keeps them in games. Drew Brees, in the middle of the 2010s, had abysmal defenses. He kept them in games because they can score a lot. The 49ers don't have a quarterback that can put up points. They don't have
That's fair.
an offense that can consistently put up 25 plus points a game. When you don't have that quarterback, it really limits you a lot. And, you know, like you said, Jimmy G is not the problem, but he's not the solution. And he's not helping the situation out one bit because when things break down and he needs to make a play, he doesn't make plays.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, the 49ers, because their defense is bad and their offense isn't that good, they don't have a chance on most Sundays, even though they are 3-5. But if they do want to have a chance, I go to DraftKings. And the NHL season is underway, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, has an unbelievable offer to celebrate the greatest sport on ice. New customers can bet just $1 on any NHL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. It doesn't matter if it's a one-time clapper or a deft deflection. However they light the lamp, you win. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, DraftKings won't leave you empty-handed. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports Contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TBPN. Throw down $1 on any NHL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. This week, one puck in the net nets you a big win with promo code TBPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. DraftKings, NFL, NHL.
They do everything.
What
Name it.
don't they do?
Table tennis in Russia, they got that too.
And you can bet $1 and win 100. I don't even watch hockey, but I might dive into this little.
My
promo right
Rangers, we've been playing well. Throw a little cash on that.
If I'm gonna be a hockey fan, I'm gonna be a Devils fan.
No, what are you doing?
I don't know
Come
nothing
on, bro.
about hockey.
New York Rangers.
Bro said one
Start
time
from the
clapper.
bottom.
You know what a hat trick is?
And hockey?
Yeah.
Don't look like a noob, bro.
I don't know.
All right, in soccer, what's a hat trick? Damn. All right.
What's
bro.
a hat trick in any sport?
Come on, really? Damn, bro.
What's a hat trick?
You score 3.
Oh, for real? Is that simple?
Score
So
3
how would that?
times.
What would that be in the NBA?
It's pretty. Hat trick, like you got a hat trick of steals.
So 3 steals.
Yeah.
3 steals, 3 blocks, 3 assists.
It's pretty lit in hockey.
3
If you get a
rebounds.
hat trick, they throw all the fans throw
It's like
their
a
hats.
that's like a no hitter.
Okay,
It's
so,
pretty lit because they.
I mean, I guess it would be more convenient in hockey and soccer because that's OD if you score 3 times.
Hell yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Also in football, 3 touchdowns. That's a hat trick.
Yes.
Facts.
Oh, okay. Now I know what it is. Because I heard somebody say AJ Green had a hat trick. He had 3 TDs. Wow, I should have thought about that.
It's all right, man.
You watch hockey?
Not that much. I just care about the Rangers. And we've been pretty solid this year. A lot better than I was expecting.
Did you see the Astros go to the World Series?
And you saw them lose?
No, but did you see them go? Did you see them go?
Shout out. Sorry, I didn't mean
Did
to
you see
violate.
them go though?
Yeah, I saw them, bro.
Because I just remember you vividly saying you calling us cheaters, and ever since
are
we
the
stopped
cheaters.
cheating, we've still been, going to the
Y'all
World
still
Series.
lost.
You didn't go.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
as long as
matter.
you guys lose, I
You
don't
paid
care.
all that money to suck.
We didn't pay anything, really. We
God,
made
look
trades.
at you. That's so bad. You guys need help. You guys are you're like the Tampa Bay Bucks, but you don't win. You have all the talent in the world, and you just suck.
You have no respect. We're going to be okay, I believe.
Get better.
This next season, we're about to sign a lot of people.
See, you're doing it again.
Yeah, no, we need to spend some money. We've been stingy. We haven't been opening the wallet. That's why we've been losing. We didn't sign any pitchers. We let Masahiro walk. We brought in 2 guys. Bad
You're digging
moves.
too deep. We don't know about none of that.
NHL is getting bigger
Y'all gotta
though
wake
because
up.
ESPN,
They definitely are.
ESPN
They
has
just
signed
picked them up.
Yeah.
Yep.
NHL, the hockey league.
Yeah. So now,
Who's the best player in hockey? You don't
Wayne
know.
Gretzky.
It's Connor.
No.
No, that's funny. I think it might be Connor McDavid.
Oh yeah, he plays on the Devils.
What makes you
No,
what
Oilers.
makes you the best player in hockey though?
You are the fastest. You're the best skater. You're one of the best scorers. You're one of the best passers.
Skater. Wow.
Skating is hard as sin.
No, it is. It's just crazy that if you're the best skater, you're the best player.
I think it's probably McDavid. McDavid's ridiculous.
Well, you have to be the best skater while playing, not just the best skater. You know.
What if you're the best
handling
skater,
the
but you
puck.
put no goals in?
So that's basically you're a great defender. There's this dude. His name's Chara. He's 6'8". He's probably not the best skater, but
6'8".
bro, he's ridiculous. He's a freak of nature.
He's taller than you.
Yeah.
Bro, he is a freak. He is so tall, but he's very meticulous in those type of things, and he's really good. He was really good.
Isn't most of hockey just white people?
Yeah.
That is a white people sport.
Pat. I think his name is Pat.
Canadian sport.
Pat Subban.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know his first name. I know his name's Subban. He's one of the few black players in the NHL.
Why did you struggle to say that?
His first name or
No, he was like one of the few.
It sounds like you didn't want to say
Yeah.
that.
no, because
It
I
did,
didn't.
right?
I didn't know if he was African American or not. You know what I'm saying? So
Maybe he's not. Maybe he's from somewhere else.
exactly. That's why I had to
Maybe
just
he's from
go
Britain.
black.
I feel you. I'll go black.
You know that's funny how people really struggle saying that though. We can say white very openly and easily, but for some reason people don't like saying the word black.
Because they feel like somebody's gonna attack them.
I know it. I mean, people just however people say it could sound rude.
Yeah, now you're good with me.
Yeah,
gang.
word. I just gotta be
You
sure
stamped in my book.
because I appreciate that, bro.
No,
But
because it's such a difference.
Hold on, let me see
I
what
don't
he
know.
is,
It's such a
actually.
difference of meaning. It's weird, bro. It's weird how our vocabulary works.
Yeah, I didn't know Novel Thoughts was black.
It's PK Subban, but it is.
Oh,
Pat.
really?
Yeah,
I knew it because he's
Oh,
on
excuse me.
Instagram.
What's his Instagram?
Paul Sams, I think, something like that.
His name is Paul.
I think he might be.
Shit.
Oh, he's from Canada.
Hi, I'm Paul.
He's from Canada.
No, because just think about it. If you say that's a white kid versus it's a black kid,
Yeah,
there's a difference
Different
in
meaning,
how
yeah.
it sounds.
different vibe.
People take the latter very differently than saying just a white kid.
His name
It's
is
weird.
Paul. He's from Canada.
No, it's PK.
It's weird because
Subban,
Drew was really
Pernell
like,
Carl.
he's
All right, you're gassing. I was just he's black. That's it.
he was like, he's
Y'all are
blue.
gassing it.
I
Oh my
think.
god.
It's all right, bro. You good?
Drew was like, I think I'm stumbling on what he was. Actually, y'all, I forgot. You're going to have to look it up yourself.
I know. I'm trying to find it. I can't.
You said he's from Canada.
He is from Canada.
He's a black guy from Canada?
Yeah.
That's impossible.
Drake. How's that a Tory Lanez?
The
I was
Weeknd.
playing.
Tory Lanez.
The Weeknd's from Canada?
The
Yeah.
Weeknd's from Canada, too.
I didn't know that. I knew Tory was from Canada. That's interesting.
Toronto.
Nav is from Canada.
Yeah, he's Indian, though.
Brown boy.
He said Nav, like, that added on to the conversation.
Yeah, because I just remember like Nav is dead from Canada. Brown boy. Yeah.
Yo, I cannot find this, man. Whatever.
Oh, it doesn't
Sorry,
really
PK
matter.
Subban.
Doesn't really
Try to
matter.
give him his respect. That's
Aki
it.
sucks.
Hey. Could be worse.
On to the next topic. We're going to talk about two divisions that are arguably the toughest in football right now, the AFC North and the AFC West. These two divisions
West. That's what you
are
get for making fun of me, you
extremely
bastard.
close. Who will win the AFC North? We'll talk about them first. The Ravens are 6-2. The Steelers are 5-3. The Browns are 5-4. The Bengals are 5-4. So, who do you guys have winning the AFC North?
Well, I'm going to go with Baltimore. I just feel like I got to go with the consistency point right here. This team has beat the Chiefs. This team has rugged out the win against the Colts. They beat the Chargers. They beat the Vikings in overtime. So Lamar Jackson has shown the ability that in the fourth quarter he can get it done or he can make the comeback and actually complete the comeback. You know what I'm saying? So in that situation, and then plus, Baltimore is another team that's been dealing with a lot of injuries. And even then, they've still been able to, defensively, they've been good. Offensively, they've been solid. Lamar has taken that next step in his ability. And plus their schedule. They got Miami next. They suck. Chicago, they're not that good. Justin Fields, he's a rookie. And then they see Cleveland. They see Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Green Bay, Cincinnati, and the Rams and the Steelers. But you get those two easy wins.
Tough schedule.
You get those two easy wins, the Miami and the Bears. You rack up those wins. You become 8-2. And then it gets tough. They're more than capable to handle Pittsburgh, handle Cleveland. Lamar's been at that level. He's been at an MVP type level yet again. So I got Baltimore coming out that division.
I do also have Baltimore. I just think that out of all the teams here, that's just the team that I can trust the most. Lamar has been spectacular this season, no doubt about it. The defense has been shaky at times, truthfully, but at the same time, I just think that Lamar is honed in on a different level, and I think that he's going to be able to will this team to the to the division title. I'm just not going to sleep on the Bengals. I understand that they've had a rough 2 weeks these last couple of weeks against the Jets and against the Browns, but I do believe in them. I think that offensively they need to continue to establish the run. I don't want them to get lost up in the fact that Jamar Chase is on a historic pace for yards right now. I think he's third in total receiving yards, only second the only ones higher than him, are Deebo Samuel and Cooper Kupp.
Chase not higher?
No, not at this current point in time. Okay. And Taze missed a game with COVID.
You're right.
He had his bye week.
Was higher
Deebo's
though.
better than DK. I told y'all, man.
He was higher. He was higher
and
before
Deebo's now showing
Let's
out.
not pretend like DK hasn't been tweaking either.
Let's not forget, like Deebo plays with Jimmy G.
DK was playing with Geno Smith.
He was higher
but
before
he has rushed for the
COVID game, right?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Who's better right now, Trey Lance or Geno?
Let's
keep it a buck.
Geno. No, Geno.
No, Geno.
Yeah.
Well, why'd you do
had
that?
Trey Lance for a little bit too.
Why'd you do that though?
No, because we're comparing the quarterback situation between Deebo and DK.
Yeah, I understand what he meant. Which is fine.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But Trey Lance only played a game and a quarter and a half.
No, Deebo's better than DK right now.
Yeah, he is.
You had right now.
Right now.
NFL goes about like a season.
I don't know why y'all thought it was such a hot take. This really wasn't.
Well,
I didn't say it was a hot take. I just thought you were wrong.
We just seen Deebo. We was like, bro, he's a different beast.
Deebo's different.
He's fast and he's pretty physical as well.
Yeah, he's a rolling ball.
That being said, I think ultimately what it's going to come down to is if the Bengals can, one, get their secondary in order, and two, if Joe Burrow is going to be able to play on a consistent basis. Joe Burrow has, I wouldn't say struggled mightily. Last week, he didn't look the best through 2 interceptions. Him and Jamar these last couple of weeks haven't had the connection that we've been seeing throughout the entirety of the season, truthfully. But I wouldn't rule them out just because they have the young core that they have. I just think that it is good enough to win this division. I'm not all in on the Browns. They had a great performance against the Bengals for sure, but they've been up and down all season long as well. Steelers, offensively, I'm not in on them. They had a good win against the Bears. I wouldn't say great because obviously they almost lost it, but Big Ben had an excellent drive to put them in a situation to win the game.
Fourth quarter comeback.
No, definitely. That's why he's number 2 active. He's a beast in those situations. That being said, I just think that Baltimore offensively is just the most consistent and the most safe right now. I think that I'm going Baltimore.
The favorite in the AFC North, the favorite to win the AFC North as of now is probably Baltimore. A lot of people are picking them. But in reality, we have to break down these teams individually. The Ravens have a great offense. Their defense is not good. Their defense is not good.
It's not.
The Steelers have a great defense. Their offense is mad best. It's not a good offense. The Bengals, they probably have the most balance between their offense and defense. They're both very good, but the coaching isn't there.
I agree.
Zach Taylor, the coaching is just inconsistent. The Browns have it all. They have a great offense when it's clicking, the best running game in football. They have
This is interesting coming from you.
That defense has stepped up big time. They're a top 15 defense right now currently, and Kevin Stefanski is a damn good coach. The Browns have the offense, they have the defense, they have the coach. They're winning the AFC North.
So you're in on their defense because you was telling me early in the season you wasn't in.
I am in on their defense.
Welcome to the party.
Yeah. Myles Garrett
is a freak.
Is defensive player of the year right now.
Yeah,
Bro, he's been yes.
He's defensive player of the year.
He probably
right
is.
now.
I think he has 12.5 sacks, something like that.
I feel like we got to
a
show
beast.
some love to Darius Leonard, but I'll digress from there.
You just
Regress.
named Darius Leonard.
Darius
Oh,
Leonard's
you
been a
got it.
beast.
Digress is fine. That was fine there.
Darius Leonard's been a beast. They just suck. He's been a beast. Don't do that.
He hasn't
They
been better
don't.
than Myles
They don't
Garrett.
suck, but he hasn't been better than Miles.
He hasn't been better than Myles.
Look at the numbers, man. His numbers look elite.
Yo, Jalen coming forward too.
And you look
Jalen
at the
who?
Browns schedule,
Ramsey.
like
Cone.
versus Green Bay, that's going to be a tough game. They have Baltimore twice. I think they'll split that. The Steelers, they can beat them. The Raiders, I think.
Winnable game.
Winnable game. The Patriots, winnable game as well. The Lions and Bengals. And now that Odell is not on the roster, say what you want about Baker missing Odell. Baker without Odell
Solid.
is a good quarterback.
Yes.
And last year when Odell went out, Baker played the best football he's ever played. He's one of the more efficient quarterbacks in the league, and he won a playoff game as
It's
well.
still weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, but
It's the nerves playing with the natives.
I think people just have to come to terms with the fact that Baker is good without Odell, and they're both better off apart from each other. And now Baker with Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's a good receiver, with Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper, Njoku. I mean, they still got a boatload of weapons. On top of that running game, which is the best in the NFL,
Well, let me ask you-
Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb are the best duo in football.
Let me ask you a
right
question.
now, all their running backs. I'm sorry to cut you off, King, but all their running backs outside of Dearness have COVID or injured.
Do you think that would eventually hurt Baker and the fact that he can't play? Well, as of right now, it's shown that he can't play with a number 1 receiver.
But that's just
I
with
think
Odell.
that he can't play with Odell. I think we've seen him with Donovan Peoples-Jones. We've seen him with Rashad Higgins.
That's why I said like a player of Odell's.
Jarvis was a wide receiver 1.
But a player of Odell's caliber, like his talent.
Jarvis had his time in the sun. I mean, he
But,
was a solid wide receiver 1
but
for sure.
Jarvis ain't no Odell though.
Jarvis was one of the more underrated receivers
Yeah,
a few years ago.
I get
The
it.
Browns currently have the 13th ranked offense and 10th ranked defense.
It's really most importantly based off Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt when he was healthy, obviously, Dearness. They just have the most consistent, most stable running game in the NFL.
The Steelers have a top 10 offense, bottom 20 defense. I mean,
Other
the
way
Steelers, top 10 defense, bottom 20 offense. The Ravens have a top 10 offense, bottom 20 defense. The Bengals, defense and offense, both in the teams, like the 13 to 16 area. But their coach, I just don't trust Zach Taylor. Like,
Which is fine.
I can trust Baker and I can trust Stefanski.
I don't know about trusting Baker, but I guess
Baker's
you can
not a bad
trust-
quarterback.
I agree. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. But in terms of trust, that's where I have a little bit of a...
Without Odell, definitely I can.
And you know what? That's where I can get on board a little bit as well because you're 100% right. Without Odell, he has shown flashes
And
of
Anthony
being great.
Schwartz has really done...
And
He's been okay
They
for
extended
the Browns.
I don't want to butcher his last name. Is it Benito? Bettino?
Joel Batono or Joel Batonio?
Yes, regardless
That's
of
what it
that.
is.
Yeah, they just extended
And
him.
Wyatt
That
Teller.
offensive line is solid.
That
And
offensive line is one of the best in the league.
It's excellent, truthfully. But I think that what makes them go, obviously, is the run game. And I'm not so much so giving credit to Baker as much as I'm giving credit to Nick Chubb and whoever is going to be in that backfield. I do believe Nick Chubb obviously puts him in the best position to win games, but if the run game's not there, if a team can find out to stop the run game and you have to solely rely on Baker, I get nervous.
Yeah, but I really don't think there are more than 2-3 teams in football that can stop their run game.
I agree with that.
Like, I think they can run on any team in football.
I'll tell you right now, the way that it's going out, two of those teams are in the NFC. The Bucks could probably stop them, and the Saints, as of right now. Those are the two run defense I look at and think, okay, they could probably limit the Browns. In the AFC, you're right. I agree. There's not many right now that could stop them in their run offense. I can't really think of a great run.
I'm trying to think.
Off the top of my head, I guess Tennessee's a solid run defense. It's a good run defense. Man.
I can't think right now.
The Bills. That's probably it.
Yeah, that's probably it too. Yes. And I think that they will run
Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Them too.
Yes.
I can't believe I couldn't think of him in the first place.
I think
maybe New England.
I was about to say, because we saw Nick Chubb run against the Steelers and was limited to 60 yards, or 60 or 70 yards. That was one of his lowest outputs of the season.
Which is still a good game in my book.
For sure, but not their norm.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they're going to go against a team, obviously the Steelers struggle offensively, but the Steelers still won that game 15-10.
15-10. That just shows you what the Steelers are.
I know, offensively, they're not that great.
Oh,
but
yeah, Pittsburgh isn't that good.
If the defense is good enough.
It's because Big Ben is toast, man.
He had a great showing against the Bears. I can't lie. Not
God.
great. Well, in terms of like what he did in the fourth quarter.
Bears have a good defense.
They do.
Yeah, they're all right.
I mean, the Steelers' offense just isn't that good, though.
No, I agree with you.
I don't know, because they have pieces on offense. They have 3 receivers. They have a good running back. The O-line,
hurt.
He is hurt. But I just think Big Ben just isn't him anymore. Like, he's just taking a step off, and he's just old.
I agree.
On to the next division, the AFC West. The Chargers are 5-3. Raiders are 5-3.
Let him go first.
Chiefs are 5-4, and the Broncos are 5-4. Who's winning the AFC West? I'm gonna start with you two.
All right. I know the fans are thinking I'm gonna be biased, and I'm gonna say the Broncos. I can't say them truthfully. I don't have confidence in us as terrible as it is to say as a Bronco fan. I was stunned, absolutely stunned, to see us come out as on fire as we did against one of the best teams in the NFL, period. I'm extremely high on Dallas, and for us to come and punch them in the mouth, 30-0, I think at one point the score got to, we were excellent on both sides of the ball. Defensively, we could do no wrong. We had Amari in hell. We had Zeke in hell. We had Dak in hell. We were excellent. Offensively, Teddy Bridgewater played a great game. Tim Patrick stepped up for us. Jerry Jeudy had a solid game. Our run game was amazing against one of the best rush defenses in the NFC, in the Dallas Cowboys. We had Javonte Williams rush for over 100 yards. We had Melvin Gordon on 20 attempts have around 80, close to 90 rush yards, had a touchdown. That was really the X factor for us. If we're able to establish the run game like that, it allows Teddy to get more comfortable in the pocket, have more time, survey the field, make the throws, and he 100% did that. Tim Patrick had a great over-the-top touchdown. I love what I saw from my boys. That being said, I was shocked, and I'm not sure that it can continue. I need to see it one more week. Obviously, we just beat one of the premier teams in the NFL, and that should be enough for me. But I seen us lose to a bunch of backups in Cleveland, when we should have easily put ourselves in a way better position to win that game, and we didn't. So I need to see it again before I can say we can win this division. If I had to choose a winner of this division, I'm probably going with the Chargers. Ultimately, as bad as their rush defense is, their pass defense is one of the best in the league. Obviously, you're looking at Justin Herbert is having the season that we were projecting him to have. He's been pretty spectacular. And it's kind of a back and forth of who you can trust wide receiver-wise. It's 1 week, it's Mike Williams. These past few weeks, he's been kind of cold. Then Keenan Allen picks up the slack. Austin Eckler has been amazing for them, regardless of what it is, pass catching, running the ball. He's been amazing. I just think overall, as bad as their run defense is, I think that that Herbert is going to be able to do enough offensively to put them in positions to win games. And I think that secondary is good enough to win games as well. So if I had to choose a winner, I would probably say the Chargers. But this division is super close. The Chiefs obviously are an amazing team in terms of talent. But defensively, they're not an amazing team. And in terms of what their scheme is right now, I'm not too in love with it. Offensively, if they're not passing the ball deep, they're a liability to a degree. What I think needs to change for the Kansas City Chiefs is that they need to become a run-first offense. Now, this is crazy to say because obviously you have one of the best, if not the best arm in football, and Patrick Mahomes, the most highly paid quarterback in sports. I think that's the highest contract ever. Because teams understand that the deep ball is going to be the X factor for the Chiefs, they're taking it away. They're taking Tyreek out of the game. And Mahomes, I don't want to say inability because obviously he's capable of doing it, but as of right now, his hesitance to see the checkdowns, to see the players in the flat, is not allowing those big plays to be there. Because as of right now, if I'm a defense, I'm sitting back, I'm not allowing you to throw the ball 40 yards or deeper, because that is going to that's what Kansas City's looking for. When Mahomes drops back and he takes that time in the pocket, he's waiting for Tyreek Hill to get a yard or two of separation to let it fly to him, because that's what's been successful for them these past couple of seasons. I think once Clyde comes back, they need to start becoming more reliant on what he can do. We saw in college, in LSU, not only was he getting carries, he was getting work out of the backfield in terms of receiving. He was getting 8 to 9 targets a game from Joe Burrow. That's where we saw him be effective the most. They don't use him like that because Patrick Mahomes isn't a guy that likes to throw the ball to his running back. I think once they start to establish that part of their game and really start to get their running back heavily involved in the offense, I think we'll start to see the Chiefs come together. But until that happens, they're not the safest play right now because defensively, they're atrocious. And obviously, they had a good showing against Jordan Love, but I'm not thinking too much about that because if Rodgers plays against them, they get absolutely smoked. And they pulled out that game by 7 points, and it was not a pretty game by the Chiefs at all. Defensively, you could say so, but offensively, the Packers were all over everything that they were doing. So I think something needs to change in that scheme. You can't consistently just go out there and try to be the same exact Chiefs that they've been trying to be this whole season, because clearly it's not the most efficient. And there's something else that they could be doing that could put them in a better situation. So with that being said, I can't choose them. At least at this point in time, I can't choose them to win the division. Do I think they'll make the playoffs? Probably, as a wild card. 6, 7 seed. But as of right now, they don't look like a scary 6 or 7 team. So right now, I lean Chargers.
Clyde is hurt.
He's coming back this week. He was just at practice.
Okay.
No, Darrell Williams has been solid, but I'm saying he's coming back. He was just at practice today.
You can go first.
Hey, you thought I didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
It's okay, man. I'm glad you brought that up so I could let you know that I know that.
Thank God you're not the coach.
Why is that? I know you can't just say something like that and not.
No, I'm getting into what I'm saying. I'm getting into what I got to say. The Chargers was a good pick. And, the Chiefs have shown this year that they've made a lot of mistakes. Going back to the Baltimore game, they fumbled in the fourth quarter. Your boy, Clyde, running back, strong guy.
Not my boy.
Yeah.
No one on the Chiefs.
No, I'm saying you were just talking about him just now. So, he fumbled. Against the Chargers, another good game. They just baited up in the fourth. They've made a lot of mistakes. Mahomes has made a lot of mistakes this year, abnormal mistakes. This offense hasn't looked the best it's looked. The defense is abysmal. But at the same time, how can I not keep my faith in the team that just won the Super Bowl, the team that has the most experienced coach, one of the best coaches in the league? I'm going to stay with the Chargers. I'm going to stay with my pick. I'm going to ride with my pick. I think the Chiefs are going to come out and win the division just because of the simple fact that they have the best quarterback in the division. I think offensively, they can still get it going. Defensively, they're not good. I'm not going to lie. I can't sit there and say they're going to be better than what they are right now, but I can sit here and say that offense can still figure it out and get it going. I can sit here and say Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, they can find a way, and Andy Reid, they can figure it out and still go. I mean, you look at their schedule, Raiders, Cowboys, then Broncos, then Raiders, then Chargers, then Steelers, then Bengals, then Broncos. These are all winnable games. A lot of games where it's going to be like, you can say that are kind of easy, So I think this Chiefs team still has ways to go. Obviously, their defense is still young. It still has work. But like you said, this is one of the most talented teams on paper in the league. So why shouldn't I have faith in Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes to figure it out? So this is just me off faith. I think I'm gonna go this in this division. Not to mention, is loaded, it's stacked. Each team has their weakness, but I think the Chiefs being the most experienced, being the fact that they have that Super Bowl caliber in them, I think I'm gonna go with them.
Whenever I have 4 choices, I usually decide by a process of elimination. I learned that in school, A, B, C, D. First one I'm eliminating is the Broncos. So the Broncos are the first team I'm eliminating. That's out. So now it's between 3 teams. Now, between the Chargers, Chiefs, and Raiders, who am I eliminating next? I'm eliminating the Kansas City Chiefs because I don't trust them. I don't know if they'll figure it out. So then it's down to 2, the Raiders and the Chargers.
He's not choosing the Raiders.
He's going to choose the Raiders.
No way.
He's going to do it again.
Despite all the dysfunction that the Raiders have been going through.
I'm shocked.
Despite all the dysfunction, they're the only team in the AFC West that doesn't have a major glaring hole. They have the best pass rush rate in the NFL. They generate the most pressure of any team in the NFL. That helps their defensive backs a ton. They have a top 16 offense and defense. They have a really good offense. They're getting Deshaun Jackson, who is now, he is going to be that vertical threat that they lost in Henry Ruggs. Darren Waller, like you said, hasn't been playing his best. And I'm just riding with my guy, Derek Carr, man. I think Derek Carr is going to get it done.
This is 3 years in a row.
This is not 3 years. I didn't pick them last year, actually.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
You didn't pick them to make the playoffs.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't, bro.
Yes, you did, bro.
I didn't pick
when
them.
they went at the halfway mark, you was like, I think I'm going to ride with them this again.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did, bro.
Yo, you're such a liar, bro. You know, it's funny because I'm going to pull up the footage. Actually, I'll just explain it.
I could be wrong, but I think
last year we literally had a topic about the Raiders and if they're gonna make the playoffs because they were 6-4, and I said I'm not gonna pick them because last year they were 6-4 and they didn't make it, and I was like they're fools.
Show me it later. I could be wrong, but I really remember you picking them again.
I'll definitely show it to you later because I know I didn't pick them last year.
You did it once though.
Yeah, 2019. I just told you when I did it. 2019.
You're about to do it again.
Definitely not in 20.
I have an honest to God question.
What?
Is Herbert better than Mahomes right now?
What the fuck is going on?
Is Herbert better than Mahomes right now?
No.
I think he's playing a lot smarter than Mahomes is right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's making better throws than Mahomes is right now.
Why don't you answer the question? Who's better?
I think
obviously
in terms
Herbert.
obvious. No, I'm saying right now.
You asked this because you think it's Herbert.
Yeah, we're talking about right now. You
right
think
now,
it's
I'm
Herbert.
taking Herbert.
You're taking Herbert?
Right now, I would take Herbert.
I want you to, before I finish talking about the Raiders, I want you, like while I'm talking about them, I want you to search up Mahomes and Herbert's numbers this season.
I'm looking. Mahomes has 200 more yards. He has 4 more interceptions. He hasn't had his bye.
Yeah.
All right, so 200 more yards, and Herbert's had his bye week. He has 2 less touchdowns. He has been sacked 3 less times. Mahomes has thrown the ball 25 more times. Excuse me. He has 25 more completions, so it's basically 1 more game.
Okay, I get it. But passer rating.
So completion percentage, Herbert has it, 66.1. Mahomes is 65.2.
So 1%.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know.
Okay,
that.
what's the QBR?
It's not that crazy.
What's the passer rating and then QBR?
I got you.
You got to go on ESPN for QBR,
Yep.
actually.
He's about to just look silly.
No.
No.
Have I looked silly right now?
It's his opinion. I don't really care.
I just what the hell was that?
No, I don't because
No, what was the giggle though after? Like,
no, because if you want to pick Herbert this season off,
I'm
of
just
this
saying
season,
right now. I'm just saying at this point in time. Is it crazy to think that?
So you think K1's better than Mahomes too, right now?
Matthew Stafford too, right?
Yeah. Tom
Dak
Brady,
Prescott.
him too.
Nah, I
Joe
don't.
Burrow?
I'm saying Herbert right now is playing.
Nah, Joe Burrow, hell no.
No,
Got too many turnovers.
Herbert's been playing borderline perfect.
No, he hasn't.
Borderline.
No, he hasn't.
Borderline.
How is
Yes.
it borderline?
I mean, what really has he done wrong? Other
Versus
than the game
Patri-
against Dallas, for sure.
What about Patriots?
Game against
what about
the Patriots.
New England?
I'll probably give you that one too.
He didn't play good at all against New England.
He's looked better than Mahomes this season.
That's fair.
He's looked better than Mahomes this year.
They've really.
Just,
I'm gonna be honest
I want you
with
to
you.
just talk to me about Mahomes and Herbert right now.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
it's been the same. It really has been the same.
In terms of like Mahomes' play.
Yeah, it's been the same.
So I get it because last season, obviously, there were a lot of dropped interceptions that probably should have been caught, and he should have.
No, it's not even that. It's just like when you look at Herbert and Mahomes' play, like their quarterback play, it has virtually been the same.
I disagree, dude.
Year.
Mahomes just looks like he's forcing a lot of passes this season.
Even though he's forcing passes, and even though he has a career high in interceptions, he's still one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
No,
like,
I'm
he's
not,
still putting up great numbers.
It's not like I'm giving like a schmuck name to compare him to. Obviously, Herbert is. You
want to know what's happening, and this is what I think is happening. I think that because Herbert is the new shiny toy in town, it's his second year in the NFL.
And Mahomes is basically the same thing.
His big time performances get more praise than what Mahomes does. Like for example, if Herbert throws,
that's wrong.
If Herbert throws 3 touchdowns and 1 pick, you're gonna be like, wow, he threw 300. If Mahomes throws three touchdowns and 1 pick, you're gonna be like,
we're used to.
All right,
you're gonna be like, if Mahomes throws 3 touchdowns and 1 pick, you're gonna be like, man, that interception was bad.
All right,
that's all you look at. All people look at as a negative now with Mahomes.
Herbert, 64.1 QBR, it's 5th in the NFL.
Yeah, he's been playing great.
And Mahomes is 54.3, 16th.
Yeah.
At this point in time, to say that it's irrational or crazy that Herbert's been playing better than Mahomes, I can't agree with that at all.
Your question, you never said you.
As of right now, who's better?
Your statement was never who is playing better. Your statement was who's better.
Okay. Again,
that is 2 different
semantics.
Questions.
That being said,
it's not semantics. They're
literally 2 different questions.
All right, I'm taking Herbert right now.
I'm not.
I think you're a prisoner at the moment.
I think you guys need to start watching the footage of Mahomes looking like he is trying to do way too much.
Wait, so hold up. I got a question for you then, because since you're so hell-bent on this opinion.
Watch the footage. Disrespect.
We're having a conversation here. I mean,
no,
I think it's a good question to ask.
If you're starting a team today,
you take Mahomes. Duh.
So who's
better?
But
at this point in time,
you just said
hold on.
You just said at this point in time,
you're making me uncomfortable.
Wait, you just said at this point in time you're taking Herbert.
Yeah.
So if you're starting a team today, who are you taking?
You take Mahomes, obviously.
So who are you taking? Stop saying you.
Mahomes.
Who are you? So you're taking Mahomes.
Yeah.
But even though you just told me you're taking Herbert right now.
This season, Herbert's been better.
Okay, yeah. And I'm talking about if you're starting a team right now,
Mahomes.
who are you taking?
Yes, I'm not dumb.
So you're answering your own question.
No, but who's better right now?
Who's playing better? Herbert is playing better.
Okay.
It's not a big margin.
All right, but you told me to pull up the numbers. I did. You weren't expecting that.
I was expecting something way closer.
Yeah,
I
wouldn't
admit
say something if I didn't.
I admit that.
Thank you.
But I don't think
All right, you know what? Hey, fair.
I don't think Mahomes has been playing as bad as everybody thinks he's been playing.
These last 3 games he's looked shaky, and to do nothing against the Packers,
Kyler did nothing against the Packers.
Agreed, but Kyler at least put up a fight.
What fight?
That he gave them a great chance to win at the very end of the game. If not for AJ Green's controller dying, he probably goes into OT. If not, wins the game.
Yo, why do people keep saying that controller dying?
Because it's funny. I can't lie. It is funny. And I'm blanking on who Mahomes lost to the week before. Excuse me. Man, the Giants. The Giants, it was a close game. He did not play great against the Giants.
The Giants just embarrassed the Raiders.
I guess. But I'm not. Come on. I'm not thinking too much about that. The Chiefs should have had a way better game against the Giants than they did. Offensively, they were not great by any means.
Yeah. I mean, the offense has been up and down, but definitely Mahomes, like, you just answered it. You said you're taking Herbert right now. Then I ask you, if we're building a team today, who are you taking?
If I'm building a team off the last 3 things that of the last 3
But why? If you think Herbert's better right now?
Because right
K1
now
didn't score against Arizona.
Against Green Bay.
I mean, yeah, against Green Bay, he didn't score.
Yeah, he had a rough game, but he still put him in a position to win.
That's the thing I hate about these like kind of conversations is because like
Mahomes' last 3 games. I'm sorry to cut you off, and you were going to make a good point. I bet. That being said, against the Titans, 206. Against the Giants, 275, a touchdown and a pick. Against the Titans, no touchdowns and a pick. And against the Packers, 166, touchdown and INT. That's not the Mahomes that we've become accustomed to. And he has, I guess he has 2 wins, but not an impressive win against either teams.
All we're seeing right now is Mahomes is human. That's really all it is.
Agreed.
And we've been so accustomed to seeing him being flawless as can be that whenever he has a performance that isn't up to par, we overanalyze it. And
It's been multiple, though.
this season, I agree. He hasn't been by far the best quarterback in the NFL. And whether he's the best right now, I don't think he is. And I think that's a different conversation. But we have to start realizing that every single quarterback, every single great quarterback that has played has always had a down season. Peyton Manning wasn't the best quarterback every single year. Tom Brady,
And he's 5 MVPs.
Tom Brady, we regard Tom. We talk about Tom Brady as the GOAT. Tom Brady is the GOAT. There's no debate about that. I don't think it's no debate. He didn't have the best statistical quarterback season every single year. He wasn't always the MVP frontrunner every single year. Like, there were some years where he had a down year. Like, Rodgers, same thing.
Did he? I don't know.
Tom Brady, what are you talking
Brady
about?
was crazy.
Well, Tom Brady is the GOAT for a reason.
He is. Brady had some crazy seasons. Even the season that he only threw 28 touchdowns, he only had 2 INTs. Bro, that is nuts.
Yeah, but just look at this, though. Look at this. Rookie season, 86 passer rating. Then
You're talking about Brady?
I'm talking about Brady, and these are his.
The early years, though, he wasn't really bad.
I'm talking about this is Brady. This is his career. 86 passer rating, 85 passer rating, 86 passer rating, 92 passer rating, 92 passer rating, 88 passer rating. Then in 2007, he gets Randy Moss, 117 passer rating. Then tears his ACL in 2009, 96 passer rating. In 2010, 111 passer rating. In 2011, 105 passer rating. 2012, 98 passer rating. But then look, 2013, 87 passer rating, 25 touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
Damn.
And then 2019, where everybody said Tom Brady was washed, 88 passer rating. Next year, he goes to Tampa Bay and wins the Super Bowl. In New England, I was like, yo, he's not washed. Like,
Of course.
and people thought that was a consensus,
That's so
though.
sad, man. I can't believe people
So
thought that.
I'm just saying that every quarterback has an up and down year, and we're looking at like, even though Mahomes is having a down year, I have no doubt in my mind that he's a top 3 quarterback in the NFL still. It's, to me, it's Brady, Rodgers, and Mahomes. I think Rodgers is the best quarterback in football right now, but it's those 3. And even though
You're saying
Mahomes,
Herbert doesn't have a chance?
even though Mahomes is having a down season, I am not taking him off my top 3. No way.
I can't
No
take
way.
him out of my top 3
He
yet.
he has to do this again for me to start looking at him that way.
Okay.
I'm definitely not looking at him in that way because of one season.
Okay. Fair
At
enough.
all.
Fair
At
enough.
all. Same thing with Carson Wentz. Like, Carson Wentz obviously isn't on this level
I
at
know
all.
what you mean.
But Carson Wentz with the Eagles was, outside of his rookie season, was great every single year until 2020 as well. They didn't have much to work with, was an efficient quarterback. 2020 had a bunch of turnovers. Now with the Colts,
He's been excellent.
he's been really good. Because why? Every quarterback has a down year, and Carson Wentz's was an abysmal season. Like, why should he even start season? There was very few teams that was even trying to start him anymore.
Yep.
So Mahomes isn't even having that type of season. Right now, Mahomes is still playing at like a top 15 quarterback level. That's what Tannehill's been playing like since he got to Tennessee. Yep. That's what Carr's been playing like since he was in Las Vegas. So you're telling me that on a down year from Mahomes, he's as good as Derek Carr's been his entire career?
Oh, listen, I'm not saying that Mahomes still isn't top 5 minimum, top 4 minimum. I'm still giving him his respect. I'm just saying right now we can't ignore what.
So you're putting
Herbert's been
Herbert in
doing.
the 5.
He's top 5 right now.
So he's better than Allen?
I'm taking Herbert over Allen.
So he's better than Russell Wilson?
Oof, no.
And then is he better than Lamar? Because those are the next 3 guys up.
I don't want to disrespect Lamar. I don't want to answer that one. I'm going to say null and void answer.
This is the thing. Justin Herbert has been phenomenal. There's no doubt about it. Asking, is he having a better season, statistical year,
That's fine, yes.
is a different question than saying, is he better than Mahomes?
At this current
'Cause he's
point,
not better than Mahomes.
right now, is he better than Mahomes?
He's having a better season. He's not
Does he
better
look?
than him.
Does he look better than Mahomes right now? That's the question. I'll leave it at, and we can move on.
He's having a better season.
Does he look better? Answer that.
Even that,
He looks better.
It's hard for me to say.
I say easy. He looks better.
It's hard for me to say.
Dude, Mahomes looks stressed and looks like he's trying to do way too much.
Bro said stressed.
I am Mahomes.
I can understand you supporting Mahomes. It's
Mahomes is
really hard for him to screw you over in supporting him because he's been
for example,
so solid.
If you want to pull up the numbers, Teddy Bridgewater, numbers-wise, tops Mahomes.
Okay, I think that's incorrect.
No, search it up.
Did you just look it up?
I haven't searched it up, but I know before I got on the show.
All right.
Look at passer rating.
Let's see. Passer rating.
Look at QBR. I bet you he's over Mahomes.
Damn.
Well, I was looking at total numbers, and I'm guessing you thought.
Well, look
QBR
at
was gonna benefit.
look at Teddy QBR. Look at
All right,
passer
let's see.
rating. You'll see it's higher. Teddy Bridgewater is actually having a very efficient season.
He
this
has
year.
been.
14-5,
He has
2,100
been.
yards.
Hey, Teddy's been solid.
70% completion rate.
So all around, less interceptions, better completion percentage, better passer rating. What's his QBR? Did you find it?
Ooh, 50.5.
What's his QBR?
50.5.
His
Like,
rate-
what's the rate? What's the
101.5.
yeah? What's the ranking in the ESPN though?
19th.
Okay, so
Mahomes
Mahomes is
is
what
15th.
15th.
Yeah.
So he's
Okay.
right behind Mahomes.
So
So
you're
it's-
telling me that Mahomes has
that
been
was a
looking as
stretch.
good as Teddy Bridgewater because the numbers right there are pretty similar.
But Mahomes still has 20 touchdowns. He has 5 more interceptions. He has 400 more yards. I don't know. That one was kind of a reach.
He's basically saying Bridgewater's numbers are close to Mahomes, but you wouldn't sit there and say
They're not
statistically,
really.
they
Not
are.
really.
It's just aside from the touchdowns, everything else is close.
Not really. Yards, he has 400 clean on him.
Yeah, 400 isn't that bad.
And I think Denver.
completion
Did you
percentage,
guys
Teddy
have your
wins.
bye week yet?
No.
Okay.
Completion percentage, Teddy wins. Less interceptions.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Herbert
QBR,
has been
Teddy is better. Like, he's beating him in a few
Teddy,
things.
you know. I can't get on board with that one.
I'm not denying that Justin Herbert has been really good. Like I
just
think
needed us to clear up the what? That's what I needed that to be cleared up because obviously I brought up the numbers. It shows that Herbert.
But then it's like, okay, you use Mahomes' last 3 games, and I'll even look at
he's been excellent to
Herbert's
to
last
start.
3.
It was ridiculous.
So these are his big time games. His big time games against the Browns, he had close to 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. Versus the Raiders, had 3 touchdowns, 222. Versus the Chiefs, had 281 for 4 touchdowns. Versus the Eagles, this past week, had 356 for 2 touchdowns.
No, that was the third.
No, this past week.
Against the Eagles, you're saying?
Yeah, the Eagles. The
No,
game just happened.
That wasn't against the Chiefs.
We didn't play.
No,
we didn't
versus
play-
the Eagles.
That's what
We
I'm
didn't play the
saying.
Chiefs.
Chiefs,
No,
Eagles.
Herbert.
I'm sorry,
Herbert.
bro. I'm sorry, bro.
Herbert.
I was so confused.
I'm thinking you were talking Chiefs.
Before the Eagles game, he faced the Patriots and Ravens, both really good, stout defenses. The Ravens, he threw for 195, 1 touchdown, a pick, 68 passer rating,
That was easily
56
his worst
completion
game.
percentage. Nope, because then versus the Patriots, he threw for 223, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 66 passer rating.
But the Ravens was his worst.
So if we're talking about the two of the past 3 games, Herbert hasn't been good either.
Yep.
And the Eagles aren't even great. The Eagles are not good.
I mean, against the Browns, who you claim have a great defense,
At that time, they were one of the worst, though.
398, 4 touchdowns because he helped that. He was a part of making them not look the best.
Yeah, but even before that, the Browns didn't look too good. The Browns just started to turn the corner.
I mean, the
recently.
week after that, they only gave up 7 points. Am I wrong?
To who? Minnesota?
Yeah,
Well, Minnesota's Minnesota.
but their offense is still solid.
It depends.
Give them their respect
No,
for
no,
their
no.
offense.
It depends. Minnesota's
Because let's
up
be
and
honest,
down.
that the bright spot of that team is the offense.
No, at that time it wasn't. It was a defense. It was more consistent. The offense has been up and down all year. But I'm just saying, if you want to say he's having a better statistical season, I'm all for that. But he's not better than Mahomes.
He's playing better than him right now. That's
Okay.
ultimately what I was saying.
Statistically.
No, he's playing better than him.
Okay, he's playing better, but
Yes.
he's, in my opinion, he's not better.
Okay, and I'm fine with
He's
that.
not better.
I agree with that.
And that was the original question you were asking.
What I should have said from get, so we didn't get into this deep dialogue, was, is Herbert playing better? And that should have just been easy yes.
Okay. Justin Herbert drafted in the 2020 quarterback draft. He was drafted in the 2020 NFL draft. In 2020, Jordan Love was also drafted in that draft. Late first round pick. Jordan Love made his first start against the Kansas City Chiefs. And what did you think of his first start? It wasn't the most impressive. It didn't, wow anybody, but what did you think about Jordan Love?
I thought he was all right. A guy who was missing his, the best receiver on the team.
Devontae played.
Oh, he did play?
He did play.
I did not notice he played. Well, looking at the raw,
I mean, he really wasn't that much of a factor.
yeah, he didn't really do anything. But like I said, Jordan Love, that's his first game playing. He hasn't played since college. You know, this is a guy who's just waiting in the ropes behind Aaron Rodgers. He threw some solid passes. He looked good for stretches. At times, he looked a little like he looked a little rushed. Sometimes he looked a little paranoid. But at the same time, I'm not going to look at it too much because it's like this is his first start. You know what I'm saying? At your first start, 58% completion rate, 27.6 QBR. He did throw a TD, though. Against Seattle, though, one of the worst defenses in the league. I got to see a little more, but at the same time, it's a rookie, you know. But this is a rookie who came in, people raved about him, you know. People raved about his arm strength. People raved about him being a superstar talent. And at times, you've seen it. So we're not going to act like at times we didn't see it. But this is a guy who, like you said, you can't just thrust a guy in who hasn't played all season and expect him to go magic. You know, there's only certain players who can do superstar things like that, and you see it early. With some guys, it takes some time. I think Jordan Love is just one of those guys that is going to take time. But nonetheless, it was like a C+ grade. You know, it was a good game, but nothing too crazy, you know. He ended up getting the win, so that's cool.
No, they lost.
They lost.
Oh, my God. I'm just folding up right now.
That's all right, man.
Folding up.
That's all right, bro. That being said, Jordan Love is not the best. He's not the best at all.
Fold up moment at
That's
the
all right,
moment.
man.
Fold
That's
up
all right.
moment.
That's all right. We'll start it right here. So, yeah, what do we think about Jordan Love and his performance? Truthfully, it wasn't great. I mean, he had a few good throws. I'll give him that fourth down throw that he made near the end of the game. Obviously, they were down 2 scores still, but that's a big throw. And that was one of his few big throws of the day. He had a few overthrows, seen down in the flat. Just, you could tell that he was a little hyped up, a little bit too amped up for this game, and understandably so. You're filling in the shoes of one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. There's pressure that comes with that. I'm sure he understands the pressure that he's going to be playing with his entire career. But I will say he was put in he was put in at a great time against the Kansas City Chiefs, whose defense has been horrible all season. I thought that if there was a game for him to play that he was going to be put in the best position to be successful, it would have been this one. And he made the Chiefs defense look like it makes no sense that they've been playing so bad all year. If you were a fan or a casual fan and you only watched that one game against the Chiefs versus Packers, you're probably thinking that the Chiefs have one of the best defenses in the league right now. That's how Jordan Love made them look. That secondary, everything that Love was throwing to, their secondary was on. Devontae Adams really couldn't get anything going consistently. Aaron Jones obviously was one of the few bright spots, but in terms of what Jordan Love brought to the table, it wasn't what you wanted, truthfully. The interception that he threw, he shouldn't have made that pass. And if he's gonna make that pass, you gotta at least miss him deep. You can't underthrow him. You can't undersell the wide receiver.
Actually, a quick question.
Let me hear
No,
it.
it was overthrown.
No, he underthrew it. He caught the corner caught it clean over him.
Yeah, that's a high pass though, not an overthrow. Not an underthrow.
I'm almost positive from the way that I'm remembering in my head.
No, the pass was Devontae Adams was running. It was like it was
over the top on the left-hand side of the field.
Yeah, Devontae Adams was on a route though. It was supposed to be a kind of a back shoulder.
I thought, okay, so I'm thinking it's a go. That's what I thought. It was a go.
It was supposed to be. It was a go originally, but when you do those type of go routes at the corners on top of you, it's kind of like something between the quarterback and receiver that
of course
it's a back shoulder.
Yeah,
and it was supposed to be a back shoulder, but Jordan Love threw it high. That's why Devontae reached out for it. But yeah, he threw it high. He intercepted it high. It wasn't an underthrow.
Okay.
It was an inaccurate pass, but it wasn't an underthrow.
Okay, I'm thinking from the way that I pictured it I'm picturing in my mind right now. Let's say I'm on the corner making the play. I'm thinking that Devontae was on his back, and he made the play going over the top like that.
Devontae was here. The corner was here.
I thought it was a go route.
And the pass was high, and the corner picked it off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Regardless of that, okay. All right, I understand what you're saying. I could have swore that the corner, that he had Devontae on his back, and he just made a good play on the ball. But regardless of that, only putting up 7 points against this defense, I needed to see more. 190 yards, I needed to see more. You still had Tay. If you're a rookie quarterback, if you're obviously making your first start in the NFL, you see your guy. If anything, you're going to force feed. I don't care if I have 15 incompletions going to this guy. I'm at least know I gave him 15 targets because he's the best player on my team, and I'm going to try at least to make myself look good by feeding him the ball. He really didn't do that. He was trying to spread the love, which I can appreciate because, not every rookie quarterback or quarterback making their debut does that. But he was trying to see Randall Cobb. He was trying to see MVS. It just didn't get going. And I would have loved to see more, truthfully, but I probably give him a D, and that's me being a little bit generous.
It was an okay game. It's his first start. I'm not looking too deep into this.
For sure.
He completed 55% of his passes, 190 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
Oh, my fault.
All good, bro.
There's no doubt. In the first half, I got a sense of him being timid and a bit nervous. And like I said, you have gut feelings about quarterbacks. And, there are quarterbacks that you have faith and you trust when the ball is in their hands. Jordan Love in the first half really showed to me that he was extremely nervous. And I really didn't think that he played good because he played erratic. He was very inaccurate. But that being said, I don't think the offensive line helped them at all.
No.
The entire game.
No.
I don't think the scheme was the best. And on that interception, he had somebody in his face. Like, the entire game, he had to make throws with a guy with a 300-pounder creeping down his face.
Basically all game. Yep.
Trying to sack him. So I just give him some leeway in that fact because, what he's supposed to do? This is his first start. He doesn't have a clean pocket the entire game. When they did move him out the pocket, there were some throws that were inaccurate, but that's going to happen. He's just trying to get the jitters out. But I think what we saw in that game is just when you go from the best quarterback in the league to a quarterback that is average. And that's the drop-off.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think Jordan Love is bad. It was his first start, but I think that not many quarterbacks in that situation with that type of pressure, with that type of scheme, are going to be successful in that situation.
Let me ask you, because you said average. Do you think an average quarterback with experience would have done a lot better, though, in that situation? I think, just...
Colt McCoy.
No, screw it.
No, I'm giving
Jimmy
you Colt
G.
McCoy.
You said Jimmy G was average.
I say Colt McCoy because he just came in against San Fran. He played pretty great.
The game was
being a backup.
Well, for one, Arizona blocked their ass off. Like,
I'll give you that.
Colt had no pressure, and Cliff made the game very simple for Colt.
Right.
He made some okay throws, but for the most part, it was a very simple game plan for Colt. I think that Matt LaFleur tried to make it simple for Jordan Love, but it's just difficult when Devontae Adams is the best receiver on that team. There's no doubt. He didn't practice much, so they never got that timing on throws that were supposed to be back shoulder. Devontae didn't recognize it, or sometimes Jordan Love underthrew it. They were just never in sync, and I think that's a big deal, and that's why Jordan Love never got going. But that's why when you're the starter and you're getting those reps with those guys, and you have that chemistry, you know where they want the ball, they know where you're going to throw it. It makes it much easier. But Jordan Love kind of got forced into a situation, and some players thrive in that. Some players don't. And this is why Jordan Love, he's a project. But there's no doubt that the talent for him is there, and he's a superstar talent. And I think he's going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. There's no doubt about it to me.
Superstar talent?
I think he is.
Oh, goodness.
I think he is.
I can't get on board with that.
I think Jordan Love
defense is not good.
He's very talented. Well, the Chiefs did just get back Charvarius Ward, and he bolsters up their secondary quite a bit.
Now, is it wrong for me to say Jordan Love reminded me of how we've seen Trey Lance look early on?
Looks nothing like Trey Lance to me.
In terms of throwing the ball with too much force and not having enough finesse.
I don't think the touch was the problem for Love.
I've seen it was a lot of inaccuracy.
Yeah, inaccuracy is one thing, but Trey Lance is throwing bullets.
He is. Oh no, for sure. Yeah. But I feel like there were some moments where he was throwing it too hard.
Like Jordan Love isn't
leading to inaccurate balls.
Jordan Love isn't throwing bullets. He's just being inaccurate, and I think he has to work on a couple things. He has to work on his footwork. He has to work on his mechanics, but also, I would like to see the kid in a clean pocket personally. Trey Lance has a clean pocket in San Fran. Kyle Shanahan is moving him out the pocket to, make it a bit easier for him.
But Rodgers does that too. I mean, obviously it's Rodgers, and it's hard to.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things because.
You know what I mean, though? Obviously, he's been playing without Bakhtiari, and he's been naturally moving outside of the pocket.
Aaron Rodgers is Rodgers, though.
Of course.
So I agree. I'm not going to try to, try to. Do you understand what I mean there? There's a couple things with Jordan Love. I mean, for one, he was inaccurate. For two, I think his footwork was a bit sloppy. I don't think he read the field very well. And it's really we really don't know what happened exactly with the offensive line because we're not in that room, but we're not, in those meetings. We're not watching that film with them. We don't know what the game plan exactly was, but maybe a lot of the pressure was on Jordan Love not adjusting his protections, not adjusting the offensive line to go to certain places. And that's a big possibility because with Aaron Rodgers, part of the reason why their offensive line is so great is because whatever the defense is doing, if they're blitzing left, if they're blitzing right, he's going to slide that protection. He's going to call in a tight end to maybe chip this guy and help out the tackle a bit. So he's doing that. He has control of the line of scrimmage.
Definitely.
Jordan Love is not going to have that because, one, he can't comprehend all those concepts this young into his career. He's just not at that stage yet. So the pressure could have been the offensive line just playing like complete trash, or it could have been him not adjusting his protection. I think it was him not adjusting his protection. But a lot of that stuff is stuff that he's going to learn in due time. And who knows how long it's going to take him to learn that. But, we'll see. But I just don't think this first start is an indictment on him. I'm kind of neutral on this. I don't really feel the type of way.
Let me hear a grade.
I think it was a C. I think it was an okay game.
7 points, man. I can't get over that. It just didn't look great. I mean, C is saying that he played average. You think he played average?
I think he did play average.
190 yards. Fumble, didn't lose it, but still interception. I looked it up. You're 100% right. I had the idea. He did make the play over the top, but Devontae was in front of him.
You thought I didn't know that?
I had to look it up to make sure that I was bugging, but I was for sure. But it's tough for me, man.
The Packers are also looking at Odell. So, Odell Beckham right now is a big...
He changes the whole vibe.
And any team he goes to, he's going to...
Odell Beckham Jr. is a big topic right now, and I think the three teams he's narrowed it down to are the Chiefs, the Patriots, and the Packers. So what team would you want him to go to?
Saints actually have been in conversation as well.
Saints too.
He does want to go to the Packers. The issue right there is that...
Did I say the Saints?
I thought you said the Chiefs, the Patriots, and the Packers.
Yeah,
you right. said Chiefs, Saints, Packers.
I thought I said that too.
I thought you said
he said Saints. I'm not bugging.
I could have swore I heard.
I'm not bugging. He said Chiefs, Saints, Packers.
I thought I heard the Patriots because that's obviously a conversation of him potentially.
Yeah, whichever one I said. What team would you want him to go to?
Who I want him to go to, truthfully, is the Patriots. I don't think that he'll go to the Packers because they're offering the minimum. I think money's still a factor. I know he has something to prove for sure, but I still think that he can show that he's, still that wide receiver and still get his money by going to the Patriots. Now, hear me out here. I think the Patriots would be very, very intriguing for me because Mac Jones doesn't have a true number one weapon right now. Right now, what's been working for the Patriots has been that run game. Damian Harris has been very, very, very good for them this far. Stevenson's breaking out these last couple weeks, a really great receiving option for them. And truthfully, whoever they've put in that backfield has been great. Taylor has been solid. Bolden has been solid in their few opportunities. But I look at that wide receiving core. Nelson Aguilar they picked up. Kendrick Bourne they picked up. They really don't have a firm wide receiver one option. You put in Odell there. Now, Mac Jones, what I've been critiquing him or been a little bit harsh on him in his plays that he hasn't taken any deep threats. You put in Odell, there's your deep threat right away. And Odell obviously is so dynamic in the things that he can do. And Odell right now at this point in time isn't a type of receiver that relies on strict running his plays off what the play is being called. Odell is that type of receiver that basically he feels out the game. A lot of his routes are freestyle routes. And I feel like him going into the Patriots, it would be beneficial for not only Mac's development, but for them and them trying to have success this season. Right now, they're fighting for the division, believe it or not. They have a chance to win that division. And the way that defense is playing, you and I have spoken about it, but prior to the podcast. And I'll wait for you to go to not, take too much of your credit, but it's possible they can make. I wouldn't go as far as a Super Bowl run. They could make the playoffs for sure with the roster that they have, the way that defense has been playing. I do believe that they can make the playoffs. And you add Odell to that mix, that offense gets dynamic fast. Yep. And I think that we're gonna see Odell, and we're gonna look back and reflect on his time in Cleveland and relate it to how Randy Moss's time was in Oakland. Ryan Clark alluded to this a little bit on ESPN today, and I could not agree more. when Randy Moss was in Oakland, he was a shell of what we initially knew that Randy Moss was. He put up 1,000 yards in his first season. He put up 500 in his second season. People were thinking, Randy's done, whatever. He's not what the Randy we're used to. Goes to New England and breaks the record for touchdowns in a season. I don't think that we're going to see him break the record for touchdowns in a season, but we're going to see Odell be Odell again. I do believe that firmly. I think the connection he had in Cleveland with Baker was not the best for him or Baker, and for that matter of fact. But I think the change of scenery, Mac Jones' pocket presence will benefit Odell greatly, and it will benefit the Patriots as a whole.
I think Mac Jones is cool, but I think, for Odell, he needs a place where he can revive his career. I think he needs a place where he feels more comfortable, and I feel like a head coach quarterback duo couldn't be more sweeter than Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. I think a situation where you have Tyreek on that other side and then you are one-on-one on your side. I think in a one-on-one situation, there's not many corners in the league that can stop Odell Beckham Jr. He can literally do almost anything on the field. He's one of the most talented receivers in the league. So I think, Pat Mahomes, I think even Aaron Rodgers is a sweet spot too, because Aaron Rodgers, you get a guy, you have Tate. Like these teams with another receiver, and I wish MT was playing because the Saints would have been so much sweeter, but these teams with another receiver in Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams is great. But I think the fact that the Chiefs have Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, I think it makes it all much better that you get that Odell goes there. He can revive his career. And I think that's a place where he can build a home there. He can stay there and consistently compete with that team. And they've been looking for a number 2 guy or even a 1B, 1A situation. So I think Kansas City would probably be the best bet for him, not only to revive his career, but to get some major stats, that helps the payday and also win. You have an opportunity to win there with Pat Mahomes, Randy Reid. There's always a chance to win. So I would say the Chiefs.
Man, Odell is from New Orleans. He's from New Orleans, and if they had Jameis there and he was healthy, I would say the Saints all day, just because I think they need a receiver. They need one badly. But I don't want Odell to go play with Trevor Siemian or Taysom Hill. That's just a waste of a talent to me. It's playing with quarterbacks like that. No disrespect to them.
I appreciate that, bro.
The Patriots, I'm not a big fan of the fit with Mac Jones and Odell. I just don't think it's smart for the Patriots to bring in a receiver like Odell with someone like Mac Jones who's so, I just don't want them to get on the wrong foot. Mac Jones is playing well. He's playing turnover-free football for the most part. And Odell, because he has so much freedom in his route tree, that could cause for some confusion, and maybe there's some more picks that are thrown because of that. Then with the Green Bay Packers, that's kind of what I like the most. Okay. Because for the past couple of seasons, we've all been saying this. The Green Bay Packers just need another receiver.
100%.
That's why everybody was so upset when they drafted Jordan Love in the first round, because could have got a receiver. You could have drafted one in the first round right there. This is their chance to add a great number 2 next to Devontae Adams and maximize Aaron Rodgers' time in Green Bay. Because the Packers have shown this season they have one of the top defenses in football despite all of their injuries. They have shown that they can run the ball with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Devontae Adams, he's a top 3 receiver in football, probably the best receiver in football right now.
Top 2 minimum.
I think he's the best. I think Devontae Adams is the best receiver in football right now. And now you add Odell Beckham Jr. They lost Robert Tonyan, so they need another receiving threat because Tunyan's gone for the year. Aaron Rodgers with Odell, Devontae Adams, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who could take the top off the defense, or even a Randall Cobb in the slot. Now you got Odell, Devontae, Randall Cobb, Lazard, MVS. I mean, this is a great dynamic receiving core now because of that Odell addition. And I just think if they do get Odell, I don't know how they're not at least a top 2 favorite to make it out the NFC. I think Odell changes them that much.
I mean, I can't really push back too much on that, truthfully. My concern was health on the defensive side of the ball. They've shown that that's not an issue. They can stop the Chiefs. They could stop a team like the Cardinals, who have been on fire. It's not a question anymore. The question now becomes, 1, the pocket, obviously, the offensive line, and 2, that number 2 wide receiver. And you bring in Odell, that cleans that up without a doubt. I really don't have an issue with it, truthfully. I just think ultimately the Patriots would be the best for Odell because Odell would have more opportunity in New England in terms of he would get more volume, obviously. You go to the Packers, you're the number 2 option. Like, that's obvious. Davante Adams is the best wide receiver, arguably, in football to you, which is more than okay. He's the best. He's not going to be able to show what he wants to show, at least, in my opinion. What I think he wants the world to know, that he's still Odell Beckham Jr. He's 29 years old. He still has a few years left in I wouldn't say in his prime. He's probably, according to people, out his prime, but there's no doubt that I do believe he goes to New England with the volume that he'll be receiving, he'll show people that he's still ODB.
It's Green Bay or the Chiefs for me. You know, you said Green Bay, I said the Chiefs, but Green Bay has been to the NFC Championship back-to-back years. That number 2 receiver, honestly, puts him over the top, in my opinion. And like you said, it definitely makes him, because it's tough. You know, you got Tampa, you got the Rams, but it definitely puts him in that conversation. Definitely, like this, you can't even debate it. And like you said, they've been hurt all year, but it didn't matter. It hasn't mattered. The defense has still been top-notch. That offense has still been clicking regardless of who's in the lineup. The only thing is when Aaron isn't in the lineup, obviously they took an L. But anybody else that's not in the lineup, it doesn't matter. You have Aaron Rodgers out there. Nothing really changes. So, you know, for me personally, Odell wants to win. He wants to revive his career. I think Chiefs or Aaron Rodgers has to be it.
A team that has an established receiving core are the Panthers with DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. But right now they have a bit of a quarterback dilemma. Sam Darnold, you know, he has 7 touchdowns and 11 picks on the season. He has 4 touchdowns and 9 picks since that 3-0 start that they started off in. He's completing 59% of his passes. And this season, statistically, he's worse than he was last season with Adam Gase and the Jets. Do you think it's time to say that Sam Darnold is a bust? I
think we hit it on the head. You know, I think you wasn't here. I think Jack was here, if I'm not mistaken. We said it. This is the year. This is the year where we fully decide what this man is going to be. This man hasn't thrown a TD since October 17th. Like I'm like no cap. Like he hasn't thrown a TD. I mean, last week he had a 48% completion rate, bro. Like even in that October 17th game, he had a 41% completion rate. So this dude, he's just not good. You know, he's in year 4. He still doesn't know how to read defenses. He still struggles to throw the ball. He still underthrows a lot of his receivers. He puts his receivers in dangerous situations. He just hasn't shown consistent improvement for us. And we thought Carolina, good situation. You know, you got a sneaky underrated number 1. You got a solid number 2. You got CMC. You know, this offense is nice. You know what I'm saying? The defense has worked, you know, hasn't shown. But this Carolina is a nice young group, and we thought Sam Darnold could go here and grow with these guys. You know, he's just as young as these guys. He can grow and groom, but he sucks. Like, it's just he hasn't shown improvement. We kept saying, you know, the Jets situation, they suck. Jets this, Jets that. Well, now he's in a better situation, and he hasn't been good. You know, that 3-0 start, he was solid, and now since then he hasn't played up to his potential. So I think at this moment in time, Carolina, you know, they gambled. They gambled and they lost. You know, it happens. It happens to the best of us. Gambling is a tough sport to live by. The Carolina Panthers, they betted on him, house money, and they lost. So now you have to look at the situation like we need a quarterback this year, next year, because Sam Darnold is going to be a bust, and it's probably not going to be what they thought they was going to be.
Yeah, I think it's time we do wrap it up and say that Sam Darnold is a bust. Unfortunately, these last 3 games, no touchdowns. To start the season, he was on fire. I mean, people definitely started to become more of a believer in Sam after these 3 games, but then once CMC goes out, you saw within that game just a shift in basically the entire offense that Carolina was running. And obviously CMC came back this week, and that really didn't play much of a factor in the game plan at all. New England was just on everything. But that being said, Carolina's offensive line really hasn't been helping that much. I do think that Sam Darnold has yet to benefit from a good offensive line thus far into his NFL career. I don't know if he's ever had a good offensive line. But that being said, you could still be smarter with the football. Me personally, I'm not a huge fan of him not sliding when he's going to take off, because obviously he's shown that ability to be a scrambling quarterback, at least this part of the season. But he doesn't go down, and resulted in him now having a broken scapula. He's going to miss a few weeks. I just think that he needs to be smarter with the football. If he was smarter with the football, I think people would take it easy on him. But the fact that not only is he not scoring, he's also turning the ball over, that's just a recipe for you to lose your job. I don't know how many more chances Sam Darnold could get, truthfully. And he's made a Panthers receiving core that both of their guys last season had over 1,000 yards. Obviously, DJ Moore had a great start to the season and has been relatively solid over these last couple of weeks while CMC's been out, but nothing to what he was doing early on this season. Obviously, Robbie, on top of not having the yardage, leads the league in drops leads the league in total drops at the wide receiver position. I just think that with everything that's been going on, bad offensive line, inconsistent play out of Robbie Anderson, CMC not being in the lineup, Sam Darnold had a chance to put the team on his back and show critics, show fans that he's actually capable of leading a squad, and he definitely didn't do so.
Last year, Robbie and DJ Moore both had 1,000 yards receiving each. This season, they don't even have that combined. That's how abysmal their play has been, mostly due to Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is a bust, and I think that's pretty easy to say. He's a bust. It is what it is. If he revives his career, it would honestly shock me and surprise me. And I'm kind of upset at the fact that Sam Darnold got an opportunity to revive his career over Mitch Trubisky, when Mitch Trubisky in Chicago statistically was way better than Sam Darnold, and it's not like Mitch was working with house money over there. He had a receiver in Allen Robinson that was great, no doubt, but that offensive line was abysmal.
Stout defense.
That running game for a couple of those games was non-existent for him. So Mitch Trubisky played well, granted what he had around him, and I'm not saying Mitch Trubisky's this great quarterback, but if I was Carolina, I would have rather traded for him than for Sam. If I was Carolina, I would rather trade it for Minshew than for Sam. I wasn't high on Sam, and at the time I said he's not an upgrade over Teddy Bridgewater. He's just not. And now we see Teddy Bridgewater having an efficient season in Denver. I think we can't just pin this on Sam, though.
Agreed.
And this is where I kind of have a soft spot for him, is that Joe Brady's probably overrated. Like Joe Brady, these offensive schemes that I'm seeing from Joe Brady aren't impressive at all. I mean, he had success last year, but I think the league has figured him out a bit. Matt Rule, I think he's mismanaging Sam Darnold, and I'm not trying to excuse Sam Darnold's bad play. He's been abysmal. There's no doubt about that. But Matt Rule benched Sam Darnold against the Giants. He was playing bad. I get it. You bench him. Then versus Atlanta the very next week, Sam Darnold suffers a concussion, and he injures his shoulder in that game. If you're Matt Rule, knowing that Sam Darnold just had a concussion and he injured his shoulder, why the hell would you start him the very next week against New England? Now he plays New England. He throws 3 interceptions, 2 of them bad decisions. The other one of them was just the defensive line making a hell of a play. But you play him against New England, knowing he's coming from a concussion. He's coming from a shoulder injury. Then after the game is lost, he has an MRI on that shoulder that reveals further damage to that shoulder, and now he's out several weeks. Why didn't you have that MRI before?
Yeah.
So you're telling me basically that Sam Darnold played that game versus the Patriots with an injured shoulder, with the shoulder that now was going to sideline him several weeks. I just thought that was a mismanagement by the coaching staff. It made Sam Darnold look worse than what he actually is, because I think I don't think he's a good quarterback, but I definitely don't think he's abysmal. I think he's just average. I don't think he's anything special, but he's definitely he's not Nick Mullins, he's not no stretch of the imagination Nick Mullins. So I just have a tough time with Matt Rule and, making that decision of starting Sam, even though you knew he was coming off a concussion and a shoulder injury. It doesn't take, concussions can linger on. And for him to come back in a week within a concussion, I think you're just putting your player in harm's way. And I don't agree with that.
I think it's tough to say he's even average right now. I think we look at Jimmy G as the standard for average QB, and I think Jimmy G is significantly better than Sam Darnold at this point in time. Like,
by far.
Like, and I don't know. It's hard to. And Darnold, it's funny with Darnold because he's still young as bro. This dude is 24 years old. He's still young as hell, and he still has time to grow. But it's just like it's hard because he's shown the flashes, but we've seen more bad than good. And he's, he has situations where it's like, we get it, we can make the excuses. Situations haven't been good, but at the same time, it's like, it's hard to continue to make so many excuses for him,
Yeah, that's true. And, like we all pretty much agree that Sam Darnold is probably a bust, but I still think that in certain situations, you have to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I mean, right now, this QB draft isn't looking too good. So it's like, where does Carolina go in this direction?
They're going to have to reach for a quarterback.
Either that or they try and go all in on trading for Deshaun.
Malik Willis. I don't even know who that is, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Malik Willis is okay.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's okay. I haven't really watched much film on him, but
let me know how that goes.
Yeah.
Desmond Ritter, like that.
Cincinnati's undefeated right now. He plays with them, yeah.
Okay. Is Bryce Young coming out? Or
no, not this year.
Ah.
So we're going to go on to our last segment of the show, and this will be the last portion of the show. We won't take in any Patreon questions today because it's been a long episode. We'll do that on Friday or Saturday for a basketball episode, depending on what day we want to record. NFL Pick'em Week 10, first game, Thursday Night Football, Dolphins versus Ravens. Who do you guys have?
I'm gonna take the Ravens. The Dolphins just hasn't looked good all year, and I like Baltimore. They've been pretty dominant for the most part.
I'm hoping Tua plays. Okay, they do stink. Defense is terrible, but I'm hoping Tua plays because Tua against this defense on a primetime game, I'm excited to see it truthfully, but I do think the Ravens ultimately come out on top. Their offense has been too on fire. What?
You love Tua.
Yeah, I do love him, but he's been pretty solid these last couple of weeks when he's played.
They stink.
Bro, how crazy was it that they scratched him last week but was an emergency backup?
Oh. It's rough.
Yeah.
What sense does that even make?
Stinky organizations do stinky things.
Bro, for real, though, that made no sense to me.
I'm going with the Ravens in this game. I just think they need this win. This is a gimme win for them, and I'd be shocked if they lose. Titans versus Saints.
Ooh. But Winston isn't playing. Yeah, if Winston was playing, I feel like this game would have been a lot closer.
Simeon's been playing really well.
Yeah, but Tennessee's defense is starting to get it going, so I think I'm going to go Tennessee.
I think, man.
He's a Denver QB. That's why you're so okay.
No, but
I see
even
it.
still,
okay.
they were losing to the Falcons, and they came back and made it a good game. I do think the Titans win, though. I think the Saints defense is going to really make the Titans struggle, but I think they don't have enough offense, the Saints, ultimately, to win this game.
Yeah, I got the Tennessee Titans in this game. I don't think it'll be really close. I'd be shocked if the Saints win this one, to be honest.
They just beat your guys again.
Jets versus Bills.
Oh, Bills. They're going to blow you guys out.
I hope.
I mean,
this is a you want the Mike White narrative to stop? That's his name, Mike White?
Yeah, Mike White.
Yeah, I think the Bills come out with a vengeance. They're dumb tight. They lost to Jacksonville.
I was about to say, bro, they need this win, especially after embarrassing themselves to Jacksonville.
Yep.
I mean,
they're going to come out ready.
This could be like a 35-point game.
I know you're hoping so.
I hope.
Are you hoping to lose, or you just want them to play bad?
No, both.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Cool, both. Even if he plays like...
he just can't play great again.
He just can't. As long as he plays backup quarterback.
Okay.
Good.
So he just can't play like starting. Like I got it.
I got the Bills in this game. Steelers versus Lions.
Oh, the Detroit Lions will still not win a game. Yeah, I got Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh wins this game too.
I got the Steelers. Now Colts versus Jaguars.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna take the Colts. Wentz has looked good. Indianapolis, even against good teams, they still look really good for the most part. So I'm gonna take them.
I'm going Colts. They've looked good these last couple of weeks. Obviously, they lost the heartbreaker to Tennessee, but obviously they've shown improvement from that first game against them. They've just been playing overall more complete these last couple of weeks. I think that they're going to continue that hot streak.
Yeah, I got the Colts in this one. I don't think it's that crazy.
Pittman Jr. 120 this week. Pittman Jr. 120 this week.
Okay. I want to also add, I called 200 on the dot last week on Jonathan Taylor, and that was pretty lit. I think
Jacksonville got a good win against Buffalo, but it stops here. Carson Wentz's wife is actually going to have his kid.
He said that they had that discussion that if it's game time, he's playing the game. He will not be there. Tough. I'd have left.
So they better get the win.
Yeah.
Washington versus the Buccaneers.
Oh, I got the. Ooh, it's a rematch of last
I
year.
feel like
I
a lot
got
of
the
these
Bucks.
are too easy right now.
Must
Like,
be.
I feel like one of these are gonna go awry.
I got the Bucks. It's an easy week.
Like obviously, you got to take the Bucks. Washington's defense has been
Washington has been like quietly losing over the last like couple weeks. Like they've just been losing on the low though.
because their defense has been trash. Their offense really. Heineke started off hot, but
They have so much
he hasn't
talent.
been great.
So it doesn't make
I'll
sense.
tell you what, with Godwin foot injury, AB potentially not playing either. Mike Evans might have 150.
I doubt it. Trash bag.
Patriots versus. I got the Bucks, by the way. Patriots versus Browns.
Oh, I'm gonna take the Browns. Yeah, I got the
Okay.
Browns. They've been. I picked. You know, I should have sticked with my pick before.
And
I got the Browns though.
this would have been so cool if Odell made his decision today because he probably could have suited up for this game on Sunday. But I'm probably still going to take the Patriots. Browns have looked good. There, no Nick Chubb, no Kareem Hunt. D'Ernest obviously shown that he can do the job if given the opportunity. But I think the Patriots have looked really good defensively. They've looked solid. Mac Jones has looked like a professional up until this point for sure. So I'm leaning Patriots.
This is a very tough game for me to pick because on one side I think the Browns are gonna start playing great football and turn that corner, but I think the Patriots, they're right there and they play conservative, they play safe, they play great defense. I'm gonna go with the Pats this game.
All right.
I think Mac Jones pulls it out.
I think Belichick's going to have a great
home?
scheme for Baker. Patriots.
The Browns.
No, Patriots.
You sure?
Yeah, I believe so.
Fusing the shit out of me, man.
Oh, they're home. Okay. Next game: Cowboys versus Falcons.
I got the Cowboys. Which one of you bought stock on the Falcons?
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
Clown.
I mean, they 2 out of the 3 games.
They lost to the Saints.
2 out of the 3 games, I'm saying.
Oh,
No, they didn't lose to the Saints.
They did lose to the Saints.
Oh, they beat them.
Oh, fuck the Saints, man. Trash bag.
That's what I'm saying. But they haven't been trash. Saints have not been trash. Their defense has been
I think
stout,
I had
so
the Saints.
good.
I picked the Saints on my ticket one time, but I think it flopped so bad I didn't even check the rest of the games.
Mhm. Hey, man, it happens. This game's going to be a close one. That being said, I think Cowboys need this win. I think their offense bounces back. I think Dak has a great game. I think Amari has a great game. It should be a Cowboys weekend.
I got the Cowboys in this one. The Falcons coming off a great win. I don't know if they'll do that against Dallas. Dallas needs this win bad because they just got embarrassed by Denver. So they'll come out ready to play. Arizona versus Carolina. Who wins?
Arizona.
Arizona might lose 1 to 2 games max this season, and I don't anticipate this being their second loss. I'm going Arizona, excuse me.
PJ Walker starting, which means that Arizona will win.
He's starting?
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
Chargers versus Vikings.
Ooh.
I'm waiting for your
Yeah,
weekly.
who? Yeah. Oh,
I already know who he's choosing.
I'm gonna take the Chargers though. I got to take the Chargers.
Man,
Herbie.
this is a tough choice, to be honest with you. I can't lie, because obviously you just can't overlook the Vikings in terms of the talent that they have on their roster. I'm looking at the Chargers, though, and their rush defense, and it being one of the worst in the league, and then matched up against Dalvin Cook, who obviously has this ongoing allegations, whether, he's the victim of domestic violence or he is actually the one committing these, heinous abuse. But I think that Dalvin's going to have a good game as long as he's on that field this Sunday, and I think that he'll be the X factor in the Vikings getting this win.
This is the game in which the Vikings turn around their season.
Are they still in the playoff?
Every week.
They're still in the playoff hunt,
we
right?
need a clip.
Yeah.
Someone's got to be real. Going to the archive of the NFL Pick'ems.
Every week.
Every week he says the exact same thing.
He's pushing the Minnesota Vikings
And
agenda, bro.
this is
I love
this
it.
is the week that it's going to happen versus the Chargers. They're going to win this game.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm
Packers versus Seahawks.
Is Russell playing?
He is.
Doesn't matter. Packers.
It's going to be an awesome game,
It's not. It's
actually.
gonna be a blowout.
I'm taking the Seahawks. Truthfully, I think Russ comes back with a vengeance. I think he knows that his team needs a spark right now, and him being out obviously impacted them negatively. Anytime you don't have a top 5 minimum quarterback in the league on your team playing, it's going to kill you. And I think that he's going to come guns blazing against the Packers defense, who has been great. I just do believe that Russ has a great game, and they ultimately will come out on top.
The Seahawks need this win badly.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I'm picking the Seahawks because I think they're in desperation mode. One more loss can ruin their entire playoff chances. They need this win. Broncos versus Eagles.
Stole a little money on this one. Stole a little money on this one.
Wait, we threw money on it before I went down with my injury, and I forgot what game it was on. I don't remember. I got to go back and look
It's all right, bro. Let's throw money on this one.
Let's throw money on this one.
Calm 20.
Calm 20.
All right.
You know what? This is an even matchup. So, yeah, calm 20.
Even?
Yeah.
We're about to smack y'all.
You think so?
100%.
You believe that?
I'll tell you what's going to happen right now.
What?
Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon.
What's going to do what on us?
Both scored touchdowns.
Okay.
And we win the game.
Jalen Hurts
our defense locks
is
up.
going to kill you.
Excuse me?
He's going to kill you.
Did you see what we did to Dallas?
Oh, my God. Okay.
Y'all aren't going to do anything to us.
All right, so you got Denver clearly.
Come on.
Okay.
The Eagles are gonna win this game.
All right, yo, throw money on it then. Get involved in this.
So I'll throw.
All right, 10s. Look, I got it. All right, bet. All right, here we go.
Cool. Eagles are going to win, bro. And I want my bread in cash.
All right.
10 singles.
All right, done.
I want to go to the script.
All right.
Raiders versus Chiefs. Sunday Night Football.
Oh, I got to keep pushing my Chiefs agenda. I got the Chiefs.
I got the Raiders in this
I'm
game.
going Raiders too, man. I just can't trust the Chiefs right now. Obviously, this is a division game, and the Chiefs obviously are trying to prove something to people like me that think that they're down and out. I don't think so. I think the Raiders bounce back after this loss from the Giants, and I think they win.
If the Chiefs lose this one, it's over.
If they lose this game,
I think
people
it's
really
over.
got to stop thinking that they're going to the playoffs or really have a chance at the Super Bowl.
You think that?
I'm saying people.
Oh.
They need to stop thinking it.
Monday Night Football, 49ers versus Rams.
Is Vaughn playing this week?
This is a primetime
He
game,
should play
correct?
this
He should play, right?
Okay.
Monday night.
Get ready.
Rams.
I hope you're ready. Because my boy Matty Stafford's
what?
about to light up the stat sheet.
Against the Niners, bro. I don't care.
Really? So
Yeah.
that's an easy cop out because it's a primetime game. Obviously,
I got the
he's gonna
Rams.
It's like
play
him
well.
playing Chicago.
That's all right, bro. That's all right. That's
He
all
might
right. That's all
struggle
right. Because
against
obviously you
Chicago.
get you a little out there because
Nah, he
the
did. He
Niners,
played against them already.
whatever.
They won?
Week 1. Yeah, they did win.
And week 1 is Andy Dalton. They got a new guy in town.
Yeah, the Rams are winning this game. It's not going to be close.
Yeah,
They
I
got
got
the
the Rams in this game too.
Don't
You
lose.
thought I was
What's
saying
Staffy
something
doing?
different? He's probably throwing for 250.
Touchdowns, how many?
Maybe like 2-3.
Picks?
Probably none. Maybe 1. I can see.
So he's just going to add to his primetime game stats with this one.
I guess.
All right.
I'm
Cool.
going to give you even one. I got to say 3-10, 2 TDs.
No picks or?
No picks. No picks.
Yeah, he should have a perfect game, truthfully.
Yeah, it's against the Niners.
Yeah, it
They have 25th ranked defense.
Yeah, they're terrible.
So that's going to do it for this episode of the Pick Aside Podcast. You can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at the Pick Aside Podcast, on Twitter at the Pick Aside Pod. Thank you guys for listening and or watching, and we'll see you next time.